Hello, everyone, and welcome to Gauntlet Community Open Gaming. My name is Mike, and I will be the GM for the Green Knight role-playing game. The Green Knight role-playing game is it's a promo tie-in to the upcoming A24 film of the same name, which is based on the Arthurian legend of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. It's interesting that we're playing a movie tie-in for a movie that actually hasn't been released yet. It's been delayed for more than a year due to COVID, and I think it's supposed to finally be released next month. I'm really looking forward to it. The game rules are pretty simple and straightforward. We're going to be running the introductory module that's included with the game, which is more or less the story of the movie, which, again, nobody's seen because it hasn't come out yet. Before we get going, I'm just going to say a few words about myself. My name's Mike Ferdinando. My Twitter handle is @MikeFerdinando. Yes, I signed up pretty early, so my Twitter handle is just my name. I've been playing tabletop role-playing games for a long time. I started when I was a kid back in the early 1980s with the Tom Moldvay basic D&D set, and I've been playing pretty much ever since. I got into story games back in 2015 after playing mostly traditional games like D&D of various editions. I played a lot of GURPS, played a lot of Champions, played a lot of Call of Cthulhu. And in 2015, I joined a group that was playing Dungeon World, and that kind of broke my brain in a good way. And I've been mostly playing indie RPGs and story games since. I will still dip my toe back into the D&D or Pathfinder pool from now and again, but I found that once you start playing story games, it's really hard to go back to the trad games where you regularly roll the dice and the answer is nothing happens. I joined the Gauntlet back in November of 2018. I started playing actively a few months later, and I started GMing right about when the pandemic hit last year. And this is the third Gauntlet Community Open Gaming that I've GM'd for, and this is my second game of the con. I'm going to ask our players to introduce themselves. Let's go clockwise around as I see you on my gallery view. So, Ben, would you say a few words about yourself?
Hello. My name is Ben. I am on Twitter at Kyoto_Ben. And I am a LARP organizer in Kyoto, Japan. And I am super excited about this game because like the trailer of the movie is fantastic, but also I love the space of an Arthurian legend. Like there's something that's very distinctive and not fantasy gaming about it, because it's more about this kind of abstract myth, at like this sense of great myth. At the same time, it's very grounded in at least I'm hoping, or I imagine it would be a story grounded in like the feelings of the scene. And so not magic per se, but the feeling of magic. And why I study design in Koto at Kyoto City University of Art, and I have been involved with the Gauntlet for about 2-3 years, and I have just, when I've had time, I've played games, and I want to play more and GM more, and it's just a great community space to be in. So I'm so excited to play in your game, Mike.
Fantastic! I'm really glad you signed up, and I hope we're going to have a fun time. Well, I'm going to say this morning because it's 9:30 in the morning here, but people are all over the world, and we live on the surface of a ball, and the sun doesn't shine on everyone in the same manner. So thank you, Ben. Gareth, would you say a few words about yourself?
Sure. Hi. Yeah. So I'm Gareth. My pronouns are he, him. I am in the UK, so for me it's the afternoon rather than the morning. love playing role-playing games. I'm new to the Gauntlet. My first Gauntlet game was yesterday, and this is my third Gauntlet game. So I've been pretty busy over the con so far. So I'm pretty much just binging on all the Gauntlet games over the weekend and just trying out as much as I can. Really enjoying it so far. Looking forward to this game. I'm not like a massive follower of like the Arthurian legend, like I obviously know the obvious stuff that everybody knows. But I have watched all of Eric Bulgaris's Pendragon campaign, so probably that's pretty good preparation for this. So I feel like I'm ready to go.
Well, fantastic. Glad to have you aboard. Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I always love Gauntlet open gaming weekends. I usually overbook myself terribly. I've taken a couple of days off of work to be here. Anyway, so let's get into this a little bit. So first of all, I always like to start off with a CATS discussion. That stands for concept, aim, tone, and subject matter of the game. It's a way that we can try to get us all on the same page before we start. So the concept of the Green Knight RPG is so this is a dark supernatural fantasy RPG where it's kind of got a hard frame around the story. The characters are on an honor-bound quest to seek the Green Knight. The game is also an exploration of the concept of honor and the duties and the concept of honor. The aim of this game is to tell a fun and compelling story about the characters' quests, about the things you meet on the way, and your ultimate confrontation with the Green Knight. The game is going to be much more about decision making and interaction with play than about fighting. In fact, I'll go so far as to say that this game doesn't really have a true combat system. So while violence may be part of the story, this game is not about fighting. The tone of the game is I'm going to try to match, at least, again, the movie hasn't come out yet, but I'm going to try to match the tone and feeling of at least what the trailer seems to indicate what the film is going to be about. So we're looking at it being kind of somber, kind of elegiac, foreboding, with maybe feelings of suspense and also wonder. This is a quote from the text of the book. Time and place are abstract and mysterious. The nature of what is real and true will often be ambiguous. And as I said earlier, while violence may be part of the story, this is not a game about fighting. And the subject matter of the game is this is really ultimately this is a game about honor. It is a game about choosing between doing what is right versus what is easy, or what is expedient. And it's also about the personal costs of choosing what is right over what is easy. And a word about the system. So the system uses its own. I've never seen exactly the system before. It's got its own unique system, but it's got it definitely has some homages to other games that most people who play on the Gauntlet are familiar with. The core mechanic is kind of loosely based on. It kind of reminded me of Lasers and Feelings, but using a D20 instead of a D6. We'll get into game mechanics in a moment. Any questions about cats before we go on? Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is safe. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, go ahead, Ben.
Yeah. So what's the aim for tonight? I mean, for today.
What's the aim? The aim is to tell the aim of this game is to tell an interesting story about the characters on their quest.
Okay.
Like find out. We're gonna find out about these characters, find out what makes them tick, and whether they, how much they value their concept of honor.
Okay. Thank you so much. Sorry to make you repeat that.
No, that's absolutely fine. So in the email I sent a link to Character Keeper. Do folks have that? Awesome. If you want to hop over to the Safety and Resources tab, we're going to talk a little bit about emotional safety at the gaming table. So we're a bunch of strangers that are getting together to play a game over the internet. And the object of this game is to have fun doing it. But each of us individually is more important than this game we're playing together. When we play role-playing games, we're often like exposing parts of our inner self through our interactions with each other, and we don't actually, I've never played with either of you before, and we don't really know each other particularly well. So we're going to be using some safety tools that will help they won't eliminate, but they'll help mitigate some of the emotional risk that we're doing when we when we play in kind of an emotionally intimate game like this. It doesn't eliminate all risk, so it's certainly possible that we could fall into some pitfalls, but with these tools in play, we'll hopefully be able to avoid them, or if there is a misstep, we've got some tools that will hopefully pull us out and get us back in the right direction. So we're going to be playing with 3 tools. The first one we're using is called Open Door, and this one is about your personal physical comfort. Open Door simply means we're all free to come and go from this game at any time as we want. Anyone can call a break at any time. Anyone can step away from the game for any reason. And if we've gotten into the game and you decide that this game is not for you, it's absolutely fine to resign. So Open Door is and again, anyone can call a break, anyone can step out at any reason, and anyone can resign, and no harm, no foul. That's Open Door in a nutshell. Any questions on that? Okay. The second tool we're going to be using is called the X card. The X card we use to, if something is happening, the X card is a reactive safety tool. If something happens in the game that makes you feel uncomfortable for any reason whatsoever, you can invoke the X card, and that will pause the game. Let us know what it is about the game that you're uncomfortable with, and we'll pause the game and have a little chat about it to figure out what we can do to to remove that element of discomfort. Whether that means we'll just like fast forward through the scene and just go on to the next one. That could mean we're gonna rewind the scene and play it out differently. If that means we're just we're gonna rename an NPC, you can X card anything. If there's an NPC's name that the name is that the name reminds you of someone that you have trouble with, that's fine. We'll it's just an NPC. This is a fictional character. We can just change their name. Likewise, if there's an issue that's not in the game, but it's like if there's some difficulty with interplayer or player GM interactions, we'll pause the game. We're all adults here. We'll hash it out, and we'll nip that in the bud and move on. One thing I do like to call out about the X card: if something happened in the game that made you feel a little, a little icky, but you decided to power through it, and then later the same thing happens, it is absolutely 100% fine to X card something later that you've already kind of let slide in the first place. And I do like to make that explicit. Just because something made you feel not so great and you decided to let it slide, if it happens again, it's absolutely fine to X card it after the fact. Any questions about the X card? Awesome. The third tool we're going to be using is called Lines and Veils. Lines and Veils is a proactive safety tool. Question? You're muted.
About the X card.
Oh, yes, please.
Will chat be open during
yes,
the game, or should I just communicate directly? What would you prefer?
It is up to you. It is up to you with the X card. Chat is open. I'm going to try to. It's right there. I sometimes don't always notice when chat comes through. I will do my best to keep an eye on it. If you send a chat and I don't seem to notice it, please let me know. I will try my best to keep an eye on chat, but I've got to set up with 3 monitors. Sometimes it's hard for me to see everything that's going on everywhere.
Thank you so much, Mike.
Oh yeah. Okay. So lines and veils. Lines and veils is a proactive tool. It allows us to call out particular subject matters that may be may be problematic, or you simply don't want to deal with. If a subject is lined, that means it's not going to appear in the game. I'm not going to introduce it. If there was something that was I'm going to be running a pre-printed module. If that subject matter was going to be in the module, I'll
I can't hear you, Mike. Gareth, can you hear Mike?
I think we lost him.
Oh. Was he going to introduce lines and veils?
Yeah, he sent a chat message. It says give him a moment.
Okay.
Hey folks, sorry about that. I'm not sure what happened. I lost all of my USB connectivity, which included my headset camera and keyboard, but it just came back. Not
No
sure what
problem.
happened. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Okay. I'm thankful for the little bit of the GM emergency internet outage. If for some reason GM steps away without warning or loses connection, please wait 10 minutes for them to return. If they do not consider the game to have ended, that's like blessed. So thank you.
Yeah, so yeah, that has indeed happened to me. I was running at PaizoCon Online 2020, and we had just gotten. I was running the game Trophy Dark. We had just gotten to. I don't know if people play Trophy, but we had just gotten to Ring 5, which is the dramatic conclusion, and literally. In my real life, up the road, an SUV ran into a telephone pole, and my entire neighborhood lost power. We were without electricity for about 6 hours.
I'm so sorry.
Hey, it happens. So yeah, I was going to get to the GM emergency internet outage. Yeah, so basically, I'll talk about that now since you brought it up. But yeah, if for some reason I like my internet freezes and I don't come back for 10 minutes and I don't send you a message, or I look concerned, I gaze off screen with a concerned look on my face, and I walk off camera and don't come back for 10 minutes. Assume something has happened, and take the rest of your day. I will do my best to try to communicate if something weird happens, but circumstances may dictate otherwise. So back to lines and veils. So a line is something that will not happen in the game at all. I won't introduce it. You won't introduce it. If it was going to be in the pre-printed module, I'll rewrite around it. A veil is a subject matter that we can acknowledge happens in the world. We may see signs of this sort of thing happening in the world. We may hear other people talk about it happening in the world, but it is not going to happen on camera. It is certainly not going to happen with any of the player characters. So I'm going to pause the recording if folks, so I've got a list of, so on the safety and resources tab, there's a list of common things that people frequently, don't want to deal with in a game. So if you want, I'm going to pause the recording. If you want to take a few minutes to go over that and check any of those subjects that you wish to line or veil. I've pre-populated those with my own lines and veils. If there's anything that's a veil and you want to upgrade to a line, you can absolutely do that. Just move the checkbox over. Once that's done, I'm going to open up a stick note. I'm going to copy them down on a stick note and have that floating at the top of my screen, so I always have those in front of me. So I'm going to pause the recording and give everyone a few moments to do that. And I'm also going to open door myself for a moment. I'm going to step off camera for about a minute and a half. Okay, we have set our lines and veils. I have copied them down onto a stick note, so it's floating on the top of my screen. So I will hopefully always keep it. So I will always keep an eye on that. One other thing I do want to mention about lines and veils, and this is just about, personal human failings. Yes, they are sacrosanct. We are going to always honor the lines and veils. However, if in our enthusiasm for like during the game, someone takes their eyes off the list and introduces an element that was lined or veiled, whoever notices, please immediately X-card it. It doesn't happen very often, but there is, especially in situation, I don't see any here, but there have been situations where I can think of one where there was a topic was veiled. Specifically, it was like someone had veiled like harm to domestic animals, which is absolutely fine. I was running a prepared module, and one of the encounters was with guard dogs, with the expectation that you're going to fight guard dogs, and I just missed it. Introduced the encounter. Another player, not the one who had lined it, said, "Hey, wait a minute, harm to animals is veiled." I was like, "Oh crap, sorry." I changed the guard dogs into like some kind of like hissing lizard bird monster, and it was fine. So again, if that happens, I will apologize profusely. We'll make the change and we'll just go on. Just wanted to underline that. One other thing, which isn't exactly a safety tool, I just want to mention breaks. This game is scheduled to run 4 hours. I'll call a break basically at the top of every hour. I'll probably call a 5-minute break at the top. I'll probably call a 5-minute break at the 1 and 3 hour marks, and I'll call a 10-minute break at the 2 hour mark. If people would like more breaks, you can call a break at any time. And if you would like to extend the length of a break from 5 to 10 or longer if you need it, that's absolutely fine too. Question from Ben in the chat. Was the person in the SUV okay? Honestly, I don't know. This was a couple of years ago, and I try to stay out of the way of people that are in accidents because I don't really have anything to offer. And yeah, I'm guessing probably, but I don't know. Okay, let's move on to character creation. So so you can go ahead and click on the character tab. So the Green Knight RPG is it's a class-based game, although the distinctions between the classes are not particularly high. This game doesn't really have levels. It doesn't really have an advancement system. It's got a bit of an advancement system at all, in that you can pick up additional abilities as time goes on. The resolution system is very straightforward. Your character has a dishonor score, and it starts at 10. The game only uses a 20-sided die. So the way the resolution works is basically you say, like, I've got the situation. I explain the situation. You tell us you describe what your character's actions are going to be. If the action is risky, or if there's a risk and if failure is interesting, then we'll call for a skill test. Again, you describe your actions and also your intent. I'll also ask, what are you afraid of might happen if things don't go the way you intend? We'll kind of basically and we'll use that to set the stakes for the roll. And then you declare your actions. I'll confirm that you want to do that. And then I will tell you whether I deem that action to be honorable or dishonorable. If the action that you are attempting to do is honorable, you roll the d20 and you add any relevant skill bonus you have, and the total you're looking to get equal to or greater than your current dishonor score. If your action is successful, you succeed. We figure that out in fiction, and your dishonor score decreases. So success on an honorable action decreases your dishonor score. If you fail at an honorable action, I'll describe the consequences. I'll take the stakes that we'd previously set into account when we set that. And failure at an honorable action increases your dishonor score. So So that makes more honorable actions more difficult. If I deem that your action is dishonorable, you again will roll the d20, but this time you're trying to get equal to or less than your dishonor score. And in that case, any relevant skills are subtracted from your roll. Regardless of success or failure, attempting a dishonorable action increases your dishonor. So basically, the more dishonorable actions you even attempt, the higher your dishonor goes, which makes it easier to succeed on dishonorable actions. However, your dishonor is also short of your hit points. If your dishonor gets to 20, your character abandons the quest and is out of the game. So there's kind of like risk reward. So this sort of like underlines the do I do the right thing, or do I try to do the right thing, or do I do the expedient thing?
Is there like a minimum dishonor on the other side?
Yeah, dishonor cannot go below 1.
Enough, but you don't kind of leave the game or anything. It's just
if your dishonor gets down to 1, you're still in the game.
What is the GM's like? What is the GM called in this game?
That's a good question. Hold on a moment. I've never actually run this game before.
The mechanic sounds a bit like Honey Heist, I think. Right?
Yeah,
like
it's
more criminal or
exactly.
More
Exactly. It's like you're right. It's more like Honey Heist than Lasers and Feelings in that as you do the thing, as you get better at one thing, your score tips in that direction. It looks like the game just calls the GM the GM. So that is the game mechanic. So it's a skill-based game. So there are 5 character classes: Bard, Hunter, Knight, Noble, and Sorcerer. So basically, each pick one. I'm going to use the Apocalypse World thing and say no 2 people can play the same playbook, just because that makes it more interesting, especially with only 2 players. That way, we'll hopefully get more of a spread of skills.
Yeah, everyone's like a noble, and we're all just very snooty the whole time.
Yeah, there is magic in the game. Magic is very abstract. The sorcerer has like a choice of a couple of magic-based moves, but if you want to choose to play the sorcerer and you want to make and you're making basically skill checks, but if we want to say in the fiction, that's if you're trying to charm, if you're trying to charm someone through persuasion, if you would just want to, even if it's just a straight up skill check, if you want to say you're using magic to try to ensorcel them, that's absolutely fine. And there's only a couple of other things you need to choose for your character. Every character has both a virtue and a vice. A virtue is, and they're pretty much straightforward. During a scene, if you wish to, during a scene, you can, if your virtue comes into play, you can tell us how your virtue can help you, and it'll let you re-roll. It'll let you re-roll a check, and you can do that, after the fact. So if you're trying to, so if you're trying to stand up and be, if you're trying to stand, like if you were trying to like endure something, like to stare down somebody, and you rolled poorly, you could conceivably say that, well, my virtue is valor, so I'm valorous, so I'm going to be able to stand up and try and basically try again. The other thing is you can use your virtue to let another character reroll. So you can pass your virtue onto another character. Again, tell us in the fiction on how your virtue is helping them, and as long as it makes sense, that can happen. Characters also have a vice. Oh, I'm sorry. The virtue, you can reroll an honorable action by using your virtue, and you can do that once per scene. Characters also have a vice, which is basically the same thing, except it will, if you exploit your vice, that'll let you re-roll a dishonorable action. One difference is you cannot pass your vice on to somebody else. That only helps. You can only use your vice to help yourself. Characters also have special moves. Each playbook has each playbook has 3 special moves that you can choose from. I'm going to say that choose one at start, and I'm going to let you pick another one once we're halfway through the adventure. So I will let the two of you decide, which playbooks you want to play, and I'll hide the rest on our character keepers, so we'll only look at the 2 that we're running. Oh, the other thing is skills. So there are 5 abilities. You can pick 2 to be proficient in, and basically just put a checkbox next to the 2 that you wish to choose. Each ability has 3 associated skills, and being proficient in that ability gives you a bonus of 2 on those related skills. In addition to that, you also have an additional 4 skill proficiencies you can choose. You can put those into the specific skill boxes, and those give you an additional +2. So that's kind of like, so there's always that question, like, do I want to pick a couple of skills that I'm really good, and like, pick the ability and another skill to give you a +4, or do you want to spread them all around? That's all entirely up to you. And I've set logic in the character keeper. So when you hit the appropriate check boxes, your skills should automatically increase. And once we figured this out, then we're going to do a little bit of backstory. There are 3 questions that each we'll get into a little bit of backstory, which again mimics the movie, and we'll have some questions about the Green Knight. So it looks like we have the hunter and the knight in play. I am going to go ahead and hide the other. I'm going to go ahead and hide the other playbooks.
Oh my gosh. These skills are giving me anxiety. What am I supposed to do? Like,
So they're deliberately pretty. I mean, they're pretty vague. If you are when you're attempting an action, If a skill comes into play, you'll get a bonus on your die roll.
Okay. So just click one ability that I'm good at?
Yeah,
or-
everyone can click 2 abilities.
Okay. I'm sorry for missing.
Nope, that's fine. Everyone can click 2 abilities. If you hover over the abilities, there should be a note that kind of tells you what to do. But yeah, click 2 abilities, and then also click 4 skills. And they don't have to be in, the skills don't have to be in ones that you, they can be in any of the under any of the abilities, so they don't have to be under the ones that you have chosen your abilities.
What would you say is the difference between folklore and mysticism?
So folklore is let me read the description out of the book. Nope, no, that's fine. Let's see, abilities. Folklore and mysticism. Folklore. This skill is used to recall information that is contained in old wives' tales and fables. This information is usually vaguer, but more broad-reaching than mystical knowledge. Possible uses. Know the lore or weaknesses of a magical creature. Recall the name of, a story about a particular individual. Remember a curious tale about a particular location. As opposed to mysticism, the skill is used to recall magical information and understand the nature of supernatural phenomenon. This information is usually more specific and more circumstantial than fable-based lore. Possible uses. Again, know the identity and nature of a magical creature. Identify a magical item or plant and its properties. Recognize particular spells and how to deal with them.
Okay.
Gareth, would you like to grab folklore and I can grab mysticism?
Sure.
And I think that would be like a really interesting like narrative balance between our characters, because we're like both thinking that we know the right thing for different reasons, and we might have disagreements. And I think that would be really incredible to roleplay with you.
That's really cool.
Yep.
I think this also highlights some of the power of the character keeper, which I hadn't encountered this concept from online play until I started playing with the Gauntlet. And this basically allows everyone to see everyone else's character sheet, and you can make your own decisions to try to, generally help your compatriots. Looking at the time, what I think I'm going to do is once we figured out the basics of character creation, I think I'm going to call a 5-minute break. Then we'll come back. We'll answer some background questions, and then we'll hop into play. Yeah, to start, pick one special move, and halfway through the game, once we've gotten through the first 2 encounters, I'll let you pick a second advancement. I'll let you pick a second one as an advancement. I'm just going to make a quick note about inventory. Inventory is vague. If it makes sense for your character to have it, you have it. If you want something that's like a really weird or really esoteric, then we'll have a discussion to figure it out. But it would make perfect sense for the knight to have a sword and a shield and possibly a horse. Having a book of spells, that might be a little. We might need to have a conversation about whether to figure out whether or not you can have that.
Yeah, I'm kind of happy to just invent that stuff as we go, as long as it's just if it's in keeping with who I am.
Right, and there are going to be special things that you may pick up along the way, and the special things are pretty much what we're going to have to track in inventory. If
Did
folks
you want us
are,
to answer the background questions?
why don't we do that? Why don't we do that when we come back? Let's take looks like folks have made their choices for their characters. Why don't we take a 5-minute break? I've got 10 minutes past right now, so why don't we come back at 1/4 past the hour, and we'll figure out a little bit about our character's background story, and then we'll pick up play. So back in 5 minutes. And we're back. A little bit about how this game is structured. I'm going to be running the introductory adventure that's published in the rulebook, and this game has basically it's got 4 encounters. So I guess we'll start with the introduction. I'm going to give the introduction, and then that'll give us a little bit of a framework for our characters to establish some of their backstories and answer the 3 questions about the Green Knight. I haven't done this in a long time. I'm going to read some box text. You find yourselves at a tavern where many roads meet. Almost a year ago to the day, each of you was visited by the mysterious Green Knight. Although you were miles apart, it seems that all of these visits occurred simultaneously. You all harmed the Green Knight in some way, with the knight's promise that he would return the damage done to him in 1 year hence. Now, shortly before that year is up, you meet at this tavern to begin your journey. Over the course of the night, you exchange stories, and you have agreed to go on this quest to the Green Knight, to the Green Chapel together. Some of you perhaps more begrudgingly than others. The night passes with anxious revelry, and then in the stark morning light, you get the first clear look at the other members of your party. You will face your destinies together. So I guess in the stories that you've been telling each other the night before, that's so. Again, a year ago, each of you had an encounter with the Green Knight, and in that encounter, you harmed him in some way. If you want to use the prompt from the movie or from the actual legend, so in the legend of the Green Knight, the Green Knight came to the Knights of the Round Table and offered a game. He offered the offer was, if one of you can land a blow against me, do so, and I will give you a boon. However, in 1 year hence, you must come to me, and I will give you a blow in it, and I will give you a blow, and I will give you a blow in exchange. And in the story, the Sir Gawain took a swing at the Green Knight and cut his head off. The Green Knight, the head then laughed, and the Green Knight's body picked up the head, and the head said, "I will see you in a year," and then put it back on its shoulders and rode off. And thus began Sir Gawain's quest to find the Green Knight to fulfill his end of the bargain. You don't necessarily have to use that same story, but you do have to have something in your past that to answer these questions. So, like, where were you when you met the Green Knight? If you want to take a few moments to think about that, and if anyone's ready, go ahead and give us an explanation, and then we'll just write down a brief summary of that story, just to keep that in mind.
Cool. So I was thinking that my character is Ranulfus, who is a knight, and I've gone with a fairly kind of stereotype of a knight in shining armor with like flowing blonde hair, and he's quite charismatic and everything. And he's kind of like quite ambitious, but he's not. He's getting older now, and he's beginning to doubt that he's ever going to be more than he is now. And he's like starting to feel like his ambitions are not going to be realized. And so I think he encountered the Green Knight perhaps out riding on his land in like a sort of glade or a clearing in the forest. Perhaps with some other attendants or lesser knights that are like his, I don't know what the term is, like vassals or whatever, his kind of retinue. And so I believe he struck down the Green Knight because he wanted to be more. He wanted to be a legend himself, to earn renown, and to take up a kind of valorous and rightful challenge. So he had to accept it, right? To kind of live up to the ideals of chivalry, etc., that he adheres to. So what did he do in the year between then and now? I haven't quite settled on that yet. He's fairly selfish, actually. So I don't know. I guess in the time between, he's going to try to make sure this tale spreads as best as he can. He wants people to know about it. So I guess is in some kind of medieval equivalent of PR or something. If that makes any sense.
Okay, so you met the Green Knight in a glade in your own lands, and want to say the Green Knight offered the game from the legend, like strike me down and strike a blow against me, and strike a blow against me and gain great skill at arms. But in a year hence, you must seek me out so that I may strike a blow against you.
Yeah, maybe not even skill at arms, but renowned, I think, is what he most wants.
Got it.
So Ranulfus, how do you pronounce her name? I'm so sorry.
Ranulfus, I guess that'll do.
Oh.
I pulled it off of fantasynamegenerator.com, so I'm not too precious about it.
Yeah, so Ranulfus. I'm trying to think. You're ambitious, but is getting older and is beginning to doubt whether they will amount to more than they are now. When was the last time you felt you truly amounted to something?
Perhaps he kind of, I suppose perhaps he inherited the sort of land or an estate from his father, and so then he was the head of the household, and so at that time I imagine that was at his kind of pinnacle of his career, really. Like, and since then things haven't really, he probably had plans of what he would do, but the reality was different, and it just feels like time's slipping away, and it hasn't really achieved anything of a particular note.
Thank you. I went a little more abstract. I took the heart of the knight. We had laid together, and he had, and we had like planted sweet whispers of a future together. However, when our child was born, I turned away and would not meet his gaze.
Interesting. Taking this much more metaphorical. I love it.
But I guess that doesn't really answer the question of why did I turn away? Why did I strike him down? Maybe it's because, in truth, I was lying to myself and I was lying to him when I was imagining a future together. I only was paying attention to the moment, and when reality started to set in and I'm with this somewhat not quite human creature, I began to become afraid. Yeah. So fear is the answer.
I love it. That is fantastic. I had not expected someone to do this much more metaphorical with affairs of the heart. That's really cool. What have each of you been doing in the past year, knowing this confrontation was looming?
So I've just been trying to recount the tale and get others to do the same and spread the word far and wide of this this kind of event, really. But as the days are passing on, I'm starting to, I guess privately, I'm starting to reflect on the fact that, you know, the year is going to be up soon, and yeah, I'm going to have to keep my end of the bargain.
I've been singing to my child because it might be the last time that they hear my voice.
With whom did you, I assume you're not bringing the child with you on this quest, and if so,
I
who?
assume, but you
Right,
know, that could be a really big,
and
very
I would,
total change.
yeah, yeah. So I will ask, with whom did you leave your child?
Ooh, I left the child. Ranulfus, here's a proposal. I am a hunter, so, and you are a knight, you are landed. What if I was part of your household?
Yeah, makes sense.
And when the knight came to your lands, they also came to mine, because we met on the hunt. And who did I leave the child with? I left the child with, who would be at home of your family?
So I imagine he's married and has perhaps young children. I don't know exactly how old he is, but yeah. has children, and then servants. I imagine there's probably a whole household.
I was going to say, I'm guessing
so.
I mean, if you were a knight, you probably if you're a knight, you know, you're the lowest echelon of nobility, so you probably have you know, so you probably have a keep, or at least a manor house. So there you've got a retinue, and you've got servants. So
I didn't pick noble, but I imagine he's like a minor noble, right? Like he's
knights are the lowest echelon of nobility.
Can I be your squire, Ranulfus?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Awesome.
That's cool.
Then I left my child in the care of Ranulfus's family, and they will play a part of Jon Snow's, you know, the bastard.
I love it. Awesome.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love it. Okay. We have established our backstories. So the morning after your night of revelry, we've decided to each go together on your quest to seek the Green Knight. It's only a few hours after your journey. You've left the familiarity of the tavern. You've left the familiarity of your lands. And you know, the familiarity of like where you were and where you live has now fallen behind you into the distance. The woods on this path are like nothing you've seen before. The branches are mysteriously gnarled. You know, there are strange shadows that seem to shift as the day goes on. It is getting late into the day. You know, sunset is still maybe an hour or two away, but it is getting, you know, it's getting late into the day. The shadows are getting long. You're focusing so much on the eeriness that you almost don't notice that as you turn a bend in the path, there's an overturned cart right in front of you, and the cart looks to have been the subject of an ambush. Arrows stick out of the side of the cart, and peasant bodies litter the road. However, the scene seems quiet, perhaps too quiet. What do you do?
And is it just the two of us now on this journey?
I'm going to say at this point, it's just the two of you. I'm going to say for various reasons you've decided that you must face the Green Knight alone, or
awesome.
Sir, the peasants, they might not all be felled. What would you have me do?
But first of all, like a game mechanic thing, you've encountered a delay on your journey to the Green Knight. And for that, I must deal everyone a point of dishonor. So everyone's dishonor is now going to 11. This one goes to 11.
Wow.
And then that's just in the rules.
And what is your character? Lot. Yes, Lot. See if there are any survivors. And I will ride ahead a little and see if we are alone.
All right, and I do so. I scan and crouch as I scan the air just to make sure I'm not going to be like assaulted.
Okay.
And then I will go to each one of the peasants and see if there's any signs that they could be saved.
Okay. Okay, cool. So you're based, so you're trying to like, so you're scanning for danger, and you said you're also trying to like keep yourself from being seen from whatever might be out there. Am I reading your?
But my priority is the saving, not the.
Oh, okay. Your priority is to try to save. So, okay. In that case, I think let's let me think about this a sec. Again, I've never run this game before. I think that's going to be a test of vigilance, and what you're doing is clearly honorable. So, so let's do a test of vigilance. Over on the Safety and Resources tab of the Character Keeper, over on the left, there's a link to shared dice roller. And that's going to go to a very simple and I think really effective online dice roller called Roll Dice with Friends. Where it says name and the default is Dallas Dice Roller, go ahead and highlight that and put your character name in there. That way it tags your. And I'm not actually going to be rolling, but I'm going to put that in. And I'm going to say, so Ben, I think that I'm going to let you roll that. I'm going to let you keep that first roll of the 16.
I mean, I'm fine with a 4. Like, it's fine. Either ways, I'm fine.
I mean, I told you to roll, and then I told you to do something else. So I'll let you keep the 16, so we can start off on a success.
Okay. When you had said, Mike, to say what we're afraid was going to happen when we rolled.
I did forget to do that. Yes.
So should I do that now and then?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, before. Yeah.
Okay.
What had you been afraid of?
I was afraid that while I'm keeping my eyes open for danger outside the bodies, that one of the bodies would actually attack me and plunge a knife into my throat. Got
it. Okay.
And that they're actually awake. Yeah.
Got it. So okay, so let's go ahead and resolve this action, and then we'll see what Ranulfus wants to do. So I'm going to say that so checking the bodies, and again, like if you don't like how I'm telling you what's happening, so if you don't like it, if you want to go ahead and interrupt, that's cool. So you go in and you check the bodies, and like the first couple of ones that you check, they're quite dead. They've been dead for hours. Their bodies are cold. You notice one has an arrow in its throat. Another has another has clearly been stabbed several times. These peasants are dead. I'm going to say that, and like none are. I'm going to say there's 5 bodies here. They're all dead. You can tell at this point that you're not going to be able to save any of them. Looking up and around, you do see some shadows hiding in the trees. Maybe just a few yards off the path. It looks like there are a couple of archers that are in the trees, and perhaps a couple of other people kind of hiding in the bushes watching you. I'm gonna hold that and ask. So I'm going to reveal that to you, but I'm also now going to shift focus to Ranulfus. So Lot moves forward to check the bodies, and Lot seems to suddenly be looking up and tense up to, like, as she recognizes their mate. It looks to be something. She looks to be like looking at something in the woods. What do you do?
So my intention had been to kind of ride ahead and check where there was no one else around, and so clearly that will cue me into the fact that we're not in fact alone, and yeah, there appear to be people lying in wait. So I think I will draw my sword and kind of invoke like the law on my side, that they're all trespassing on probably still my land at this point, and you know.
I'm going to say no. You're not on your land anymore.
Okay.
You've traveled in. In fact, this. You know, I'm just going to say this just for the sake of it being like cool and mysterious. You know, you've traveled down this road before, and this doesn't look like that road.
Right, so I'm a little uncertain. That's cool. I still think I will challenge the closest of them.
Okay, how are you?
And I guess I will ask them to. I will demand that they lay down their weapons in the name of the king or whoever is
Okay.
the superior.
Okay, fantastic. This is. I'm going to say this is clearly an honorable action, and it sounds like you're using your authority. So go ahead and roll a d20 and add your authority skill, which looks like is a 4. And you're looking to go over. You're looking to get a score over your current dishonor of 11, equal to or greater than your current score of 11.
Cool.
All right.
So I rolled 15, so that's a very high roll.
That is a success. So you challenge out your so you send out your challenge, and yes, on a success. Oh yes, yes to both. On a successful honorable action, your dishonor decreases by 1. So both of your.
Oh, was I supposed to say what I was scared was happening as well?
Yeah, you know, I always forget to do that, but
okay.
I frequently forget to do that, but
next
you know,
time,
it was a success, so we'll figure it out.
My dishonor goes down to
your
10?
Dishonor goes down to 10. Yes.
Cool.
So, so you've sent out this. So you have sent out this challenge. So a voice shouts out. A voice shouts out from the bushes, which is like, no travelers. You are the ones who are trespassing here. This is our woods. This road has a toll after all.
And what is the cost?
And at this point, a youngish, kind of scraggly looking man steps from the woods, into the light. He's I'm looking for his description. Hold on a sec. So he's this guy doesn't look like he's particularly tough. I'll just say that. He looks like he's pretty thin. It looks like he doesn't eat particularly regularly. His clothes are functional but ragged, but are somewhat ragged and have been repaired and have been repaired extensively. He's looks like he hasn't had a wash in quite a long time. And he looks you up and down, and sees that you are heavily armed and heavily armored, and says, Tell you what though, friend. If you can help us with a little task, we'll let you pass through without paying a toll at all. We'll also give you a little something special. What say you?
My liege.
What is the nature of this task?
Well, as you can see, and he gestures around to the overturned cart and the and the bodies. Some people just refuse to pay the toll, and we can't let people not pay the toll, not suffer some sort of consequence. And things, frankly, turned ugly. One of them ran off. If you could, there's no honor to uphold the law after all, he says, and he puffs himself up slightly. In fact, we were. Whose law? Oh, the law of we are clearly the landlords here. And he nods, and
he's referring, sir, to the law of the jungle.
So, in fact, we were just trying to track down one of these people who ran off. If you could find him and bring him back to us, we'll split the spoils with you.
I do not deal with brigands and thieves.
However,
Brigands?
Sir, I would like to somehow deal these remains some justice, and at least bury them, even if we may not revenge them.
He shrugs and says, well, yeah, we were probably going to do that eventually. And he looks back, and several of his friends that you can now see nod. Mm-hmm. He goes on to say, and tell you what, I'll sweeten the pot even more if you help us out with helping us track down that straggler. And he says, I'll give you this, and he holds out this mace. It's like of extraordinarily fine quality. The head is engraved with fine filigree. It looks partly ceremonial, but it also would be a very effective weapon.
Okay, now I think you're talking Ranulfus's language a bit more, because you're appealing to his selfish vice, and so he's kind of torn now between his first instinct that these are brigands and thieves, and his kind of desire for material gain. So he pauses for a moment. I don't know what Lot does in this moment.
Sir Ranulfus, I have a proposal. What if I go fetch this lost traveler, and meanwhile you can help the brigands bury these dead, because I do not trust them to keep their word. And although we may not get revenge today, we are on a mission. It's true. I detest, by my gods, to see flesh be eaten by crows until they are nothing.
Very well. This is honorable and expedient.
I don't think that exists, but yes.
I will. He's just saying that. I don't think that.
This is honorable and expedient. Well, you'll have a few hours to deal with these jokesters.
So Lot is going to go off and try to find this lost person, or try to find this person that ran off. And Ranulfus, you're going to stay here and help these wardens bury the dead.
Help them, but mostly just watch them do it, probably.
Fair enough. Ben, did you have a question?
Yeah. So one of my special moves is called Grim Dedication. And it says, if no other characters are watching while you attempt a dishonorable action, you may avoid taking dishonor if the action is successful.
Yep.
But is what is the definition of character? Is that other player characters or side characters as well?
That's true of basically that's true of both player characters and non-player characters. So basically, if you can do it and really nobody, if you can do one of these things with literally nobody watching, yeah, you can.
Yeah.
If nobody's watching, it's basically if nobody's watching, it doesn't count, right? It's kind of like it's not illegal if you don't get caught.
Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. Thank you.
I'm just gonna do a little, there's no roll or anything here. So you're standing there, and so Ranulfus, you're standing there, and looking expectantly at these people to bury the dead. And their leader again looks you up and down, sees how well armed and armored you are, and he kind of reluctantly gestures some of his other friends to come out of the woods and to basically start pulling the bodies off of the road. And they don't have particularly good digging implements, but they start digging some graves, and you more or less stand there and watch them do this. Lot. Yeah, you can certainly head off into the you can certainly head off and try to track down the wayward peasant who ran off away from these wardens, as they seem to call themselves.
Enjoy your friends. I'll be back in a bit. And I head into the bush.
Okay. So how are you going to try to track this guy down?
This is a great question. I'm going to use... do you want me to describe mechanically or
no? Describe narratively what you're going to do, and then we'll figure out which skill you're using.
Okay. Well, this peasant obviously ran off quite quickly and hastily. And so I'm wondering what I want to do, and this is like information. What I want to do is thinking narrative. I'm going to track the breaks in the underbrush to see where they pass by, and in doing so, actually, I hope to find out something about who they are.
Okay.
Because, I think that in truth, bad things happen to bad people. And I'm suspicious of who this person is, that they're just not some random traveler. And what I'm afraid is going to happen is that I'm going to be the one that is hunted, that they think I'm one of the brigands.
Okay, that sounds good.
Shot from the shadows. Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good. So you can attempt to you can absolutely attempt to pick up this guy's trail. I'm going to say that is going to be I'm going to say you're a hunter. I'm going to say that you find his trail. This is going to be a test on how well you're able to follow his trail, to see if you lose his tracks. And that would be your choice of either vigilance to really follow them, or that could be either vigilance or intuition. I'll let you choose which one you want to roll.
Yeah.
Looks like the skill level is the same on both. That's just going to more or less just flavor the fiction on how you're following the tracks.
You're so right on this, Mike. I think that I'm going to use intuition because I am a hunter and I can follow a trail, and animals are much more difficult than humans. But I'm trying in my path to find out who or what kind of person this is that I'm going to be confronting quite soon.
Okay.
Before I confront them, I want to know who they are just in case I need to do a dishonorable action.
Got it. I'm going to say that. So yeah, let's go ahead and do an intuition roll. I'm just going to say, for the sake of fiction, that you're able to. This isn't determining whether or not you can follow the tracks. I'm just going to say you're a hunter. You can follow the tracks of somebody like who's tearing through the woods without trying to cover their tracks at all. This is going to tell you a little more about at least like the mindset and like kind of like what they did while they were doing this, and perhaps even where they're heading. So this is going to be a test of intuition, and I'm going to say this sounds like this sounds like you're being honorable here. So why don't you go ahead and roll it? You rolled an 11 plus 2 is a 13, which is over your dishonor. So your dishonor goes down by 1.
Oh, I see how this works. Oh my gosh. Oh, this is interesting.
Yeah. So basically, the more you succeed at being honorable, the easier it is to continue to be honorable. But as you, that's kind of how the mechanics works. But as you do dishonorable things, it makes it harder to be honorable. So basically, dishonor is the easy path. Honor is the hard path that requires more work. So yeah, I'm going to tell you. Yeah, you're. I mean, you know, you're Lot. You're Lot the hunter. You're able to follow these tracks, and as you're following these tracks, you can tell that whoever made them is making absolutely no effort to try to conceal. It looks like they're just basically running scared through the woods and just kind of like tearing through whatever to try to put as much distance between themselves and the bandit and the bandits. Oh, excuse me, I mean wardens that they were running away from. And you know, with that roll, I'm going to say that you know, you think there might be a hunting lodge up ahead that you know, like a small like a commoner's hunting lodge, because you know these are not the king's lands. Hunting here would not be considered poaching. So presumably someone who is local here might know where it is. So yeah, so I'm going to say your intuition probably tells you like where this person was probably heading, and you can also probably tell from how they were moving through this forest their mindset. They're scared.
Mm-hmm. And so I know there's a hunter's lodge and that there's a scared person.
Yep.
Those are 2 pieces of information, correct? All right.
Correct. Let's see. Looking at time.
Ranulfus, I would love to see a scene with you and the brigands, and like, what sort of relationship do you develop?
I was going to say that. I need to step off camera for a moment, and we're getting close to the top of the hour. So if it's okay with you, why don't we call a and we're getting close to the halfway mark for this game. Why don't we call a 10-minute break, and then we'll come back and we'll resolve. We'll go back to Ranulfus's scene with these brigands, and we'll take it from there. So let's take 10 minutes. I've got 53 past the hour, so yeah, see you in 10. And we're back. So before I hit record, I was just saying that I just wanted to say my understanding, because the movie isn't released yet, is that this adventure more or less parallels the plot of the movie. So to a certain extent, we're getting a sort of, you know, maybe distorted mirror preview of what the movie is going to be like. I can't say for certain because you know, the movie's not coming out for another few weeks. But it meshes up with some of the stuff I've seen in the previews. All right. When last we left, we're moving the camera back to Ranulfus with the brigands who seem to claim to be like the legitimate wardens of this forest, but you know, I'm gonna tell you, it's pretty clear these people have no actual authority here. Yeah, you are oversee them basically reluctantly digging shallow graves for these victims that they had apparently killed. And I'm also going to say that as you're watching them, it seems clear that they're like rifling through these peasants' pockets and trying to surreptitiously pocket anything of value that they might find.
Awesome.
What do you do? What do you do, Sir
I will
Ranulfus?
try to convince them to give me some of the money.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you're basically demanding a cut.
Yeah, well, it depends how valuable it looks. If it looks like they're getting some good stuff, then probably.
I'm going to say that I'm going to say that what they're getting from the bodies of these peasants is not anything particularly of very high value. Like perhaps a few copper, perhaps a few copper, perhaps a few pence, maybe a shilling. But
yeah, I feel like it's beneath his level, so I think he's more just impatient to get going. So he just wants this to hurry up, and yeah.
Okay. So
I
you're
think
not
that's probably it. He's just insisting that he just wants them to hurry up, really, and get it done, and stop searching them and bury them. Like, stop playing with them and get them in the ground.
Okay. I don't think that I don't think that's I mean I don't think there's I don't think success or failure hinges on a roll here. So yeah, it just sounds like you're.
I'm interested in their leader. Can you describe the leader again?
Yeah, he is also kind of hanging back and letting the others do the work. But yeah, he's probably maybe 30-ish. He's kind of this like lean and wiry looking guy. He's also one of those people that's like constantly moving around. His eyes are constantly darting from place to place. Regularly lingering on you. In fact, you catch him you catch him regularly trying to size you up, and you can almost hear the gears turning in his head as he's trying to figure out like how much would that shield really be worth. But then he looks at your sword and is like, yeah, I'm not getting that. You think the only reason that these people haven't actually attacked you yet is they're not sure if they'd win.
Yeah, which is kind of what the same for me. So it's an uneasy truce. I get it.
Anything else you want to do here? They do seem to, again, there's this band of brigands. There's probably only about a half a dozen of them all totaled. They are none of them are armed. I think maybe a couple of them might be wearing like leather jerkins that would give like a certain a little bit of defense. Most of them are armed with what seem to be hunting bows, but they seem to have hunting bows and maybe like knives. But looks like the only person that has like a weapon of any danger would be the leader, who with chatting with him, he tells you his name is William. It looks like he's got the only like actual weapon of any true. I mean, obviously getting hit with a bunch of arrows would hurt, as would getting stuck with a knife. But really, it's only that mace that he was offering you as payment for like returning this wayward peasant. That really seems to be the only like dangerous weapon among them.
Yes.
Anything else you want to do here, or should we switch the scene back to Lot?
What the hell? I feel like it'll be interesting if I try to take them out. Right, that's going to be more interesting. So let's go with that. So I think it's like I just need to take out William here, the leader. So I guess he's watching me, but I would like to sort of position myself surreptitiously into a favorable position where I can get the upper hand and try to subdue him quickly.
Are you going to try to like kill him, or are you going to try to capture him, or what's your plan here?
I I think just kill him. I think in the backwards medieval legal system, I could probably just kill him, right? So that it's like, in his mind, it's like murder's perfectly legal because I'm a nobleman. So yeah.
So you're going to try to basically surreptitiously get close to him, and then you're going to try to surreptitiously get close to him, and then
yeah.
Or
the plan?
are you going to challenge him? Are you going to do the kind of dishonorable surreptitious, or like?
I was going to say, because if you want to get right up to him and try to basically, like stab him without him noticing what's coming, I'm going to say that's a dishonorable action.
Yeah, I think it's that. I think he's being dishonorable now. Like,
okay,
Lot's not around. He kind of wants to get on with things. He feels like this is the way to get it done, and he's going to get that nice mace. And these people are criminals, so they've got no recourse. It's fine.
Okay. I am going to say that I'm going to leave it up to you. Do you want to say this? I'm going to leave it up to you to determine which skill you want to use. It looks like your ranks in both of them is the same, so mechanically it doesn't matter. But this is going to flavor the fiction here. This is going to be either a melee. This is either going to be melee combat or it's going to be stealth.
Yeah, I'm not good at either, but I think it's stealth.
Okay. So you're sneaking up to him and you're gonna stab him. So okay, this is a dishonorable action. So you need to roll equal to or under your dishonor of 10 on a d20.
Ranulfus, so, what are you afraid is going to happen?
That's true. That is I forgot that. I keep forgetting that. I'm looking at this skill list and I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh well, we're playing D&D clearly.
Would you like to? I can add a reminder, like just like a big bold letters. What is like on the?
You just need to write it on the dice roller button or something.
Yeah. I do keep forgetting that. I do that when I run trophy. I never forget that, but playing this game, I seem to be forgetting it. Anyway, so yeah, what are you afraid? What are you afraid might happen if this doesn't go so well?
Well, I mean, the obvious thing is just that they will harm me, and I will fail. If I fail to harm this guy, then these people are going to harm me. I think that's it. It's just as simple as that in this case, because it's.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's pretty clear that I think I was going to say that it's pretty obvious that if you're not so successful, he's going to call everyone to start attacking you.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, okay, let's go ahead and roll a d20. It looks like you've got no bonus on the roll.
Oh, a natural one.
Natural one.
Oh, that's good in this, isn't it? Because it's lasers of feelings logic.
I was going to say, this is that's the best roll you can do on this dishonorable action.
I'm a little disappointed, but okay.
Let's see.
So that goes down by 1.
So yeah, your dishonor increases, so that goes up to 11. And yeah, you have I'm gonna say you have killed this guy through stealth and guile. Go ahead and why don't you tell us what the scene looks like?
So I think he waits until William is distracted with one of his men, one of his underlings, and then he furtively looks around, sort of slides off his horse, and just creeps up behind him. And at the last moment, I think William just starts to turn, but he's got his sword out and just runs him through. And like William looks him in the eye with sort of shock, and then just kind of falls to the ground. And so he kind of kicks him off of his sword onto the ground, and then he turns to the others and just tells them to, run.
Okay.
No one else has to get hurt. Just
okay, I'm going to telling them to run off. Okay, I think that is going to be another roll, and but before we do that, I want to cut back and let's see what Lot is up to. So we've had this action scene. It ends with so that scene ends with the brigands who were digging these graves. I'm going to say you probably waited until like most of the digging work was done before you did this.
Oh yeah, totally, yeah.
They're like, there's like a shocked reaction, a moment, and then you give them the order, and we're gonna go and see what's happening with Lot, and then we'll come back and see what happens. So Lot, yeah, you've tracked down you have tracked down. Looks like whoever here wasn't actually. I mean, maybe he was heading toward the hunting lodge, but you've tracked him down before he's gotten there. There's now you can there's I mean, you could just tell because he's not particularly good at hiding. There is someone who is like trying to hide behind this like big like the log of a big fallen tree that has some brush around it, and you can tell there's someone hiding behind there. What do you do? And Ben, you're muted. There you go.
Have I determined? I'm wondering if I've determined if this is someone who I should kill or who I should save. And I'm wondering if and in my journey, I see this man. About how old is he?
He's probably he's not exactly young, but he's not an old man. He's probably in his, I mean, he's kind of perhaps on the old side for a peasant. He's he's probably pushing 40.
Yeah. Okay.
He's he's a pretty I'm going to say again, he's hiding. You can see him a little bit, but he's got like his hair is in like kind of a bowl cut, and it's dark, but there's a few streaks of gray in it. He's otherwise he's got maybe it looks like he does normally shave, but he's got maybe 4 or 5 days growth of beard, and again it's mostly dark, but it's there's some salt in the pepper.
This reminds me of the time when I first met the Green Knight.
Flashback.
And it was in the glade while I was on a hunt for my master, because there was a criminal on the run, and I was there to hunt them down. And I was given an option to bring them back alive or dead. And it was then that I met the Green Knight in the woods. And in this moment, I nick my hand and I press it into the tree in front of me, and I send a prayer. And in the prayer, I am just hoping for a sign, and I'm just going to go, if it's okay with you, roll the dice to see what I do, whether I take them out or not.
Okay, if you want to leave that, if you want to leave that to chance.
Yeah.
Are you calling out to him, or are you just gonna try to talk to this guy, or you're just gonna?
I'm not going to talk to this guy. I'm just talking to the roots under my feet and the bark pressed against my fingers. And if you want to narrate whatever sign or none I get, that's okay. I'm going to roll, and I'm going to say, even I don't kill him, odds I kill him.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna say before you roll, I'm just gonna say so you're looking for a sign from the woods, or looking for a sign from the gods or whatever on what you are you asking for a sign to see what you should do, or do you just want to straight up leave it to chance?
I want to straight up leave it to chance.
Okay, fantastic.
And so I guess what I'm afraid will happen is that I will be seen by the Green Knight for whatever villainous acts I do here. That's my fear.
Very cool. So you said So you basically want to roll a d20. You're going to roll a d20, and evens or odds is going to determine what your action is.
Yeah, so evens is I don't kill him, odds I kill him.
Okay, go ahead and roll. Let's see what happens.
Okay, it's a 1.
So you said evens you kill him, odds you don't kill him. Is that what you said, or did I
Yeah.
reverse that? Yes. Okay,
yeah,
I'm going to
odds I do.
odds
I
you do kill him. Okay.
Yeah. So and that's so I get the
So
sign.
how
I
are
don't
you?
know what
So
it looks like.
okay. I was going to say you get a. I was going to say so you're seeking a sign. And I'm going to say the sign you see is like directly above where this guy is. You know, you look up, and directly above where this guy is hiding, you see a crow just roosting in a tree, and the crow seems to be looking right at you.
Yeah. And I see the crow.
So that's the sign you see. And you want to try, and you basically you want to try to kill this guy.
Yeah, and the crow says it's a messenger of the souls. I'm gonna take this guy out.
Okay, well, I think that's going to be a test of ranged combat. I am going to say that attacking this guy, attacking this guy without hearing his side of the story. I'm going to say that is going to be a dishonorable action.
Yeah. And I'm gonna say that what I'm afraid is going to happen is not only like because I know I've done this under the eyes of the gods, in my opinion, and even if I do kill him, then I am going to like trying to think. Well, one, I will be seen by my lover through the crow. It's going to be the Green Knight who sees everything. But I will never be able to wash. The blood will never be able to be fully washed from my arrows.
Okay, I like it. I like it. Okay, so I think like shooting at this guy from where you are. I think that's going to be a dishonorable action, and I think that's So how are you doing this? Are you like shooting arrows at him, or you're going to like walk up to him and just?
I'm going to shoot an arrow, just
Okay.
straight up and try to snipe
Okay,
him.
so yeah, you're gonna. So I think that is going to be a test of ranged combat, and this is a dishonorable action. So you want to roll. You want to roll your dishonor or lower, and it looks like you have a skill of 2 in ranged combat. So subtract 2 from your die roll.
Okay.
13 minus 2 is an 11. So I'm going to say that he didn't seem to see you, but as you I'm going to say like as you draw back your arrow, just at that moment, like a ray of light, you know, there's like a little bit of shift in the trees. A ray of light happens to hit the metal arrowhead, and he happens to see the glint, and he ducks down just as you loose the arrow, and the arrow like whizzes like maybe half a second earlier, his head would have been right there, and you would have shot him right between the eyes. But he ducked down just in time, and that arrow flies right by him. And at that, he shouts like, "Oh no, you're one of them!" And he gets up and he just like starts running through the woods.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I need to pause for a sec. Somebody is knocking at my front door. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. Had a delivery I had to sign for. So I had I did have my headphones on while I stepped off. So Ben, you said you said you were kind of hoping that the I actually like your suggestion of the fiction that the crow cawed and warned him just as as you let the arrow fly. I actually like that better than what I'd said. So let's retcon the situation to be just that, if that's okay with you.
I mean, that's okay. It's like, this is like a headcanon. So it's like,
No.
totally fine.
I like that. I like that better than what I had said. So let's go with that. So, just as you're about to, just as you release the arrow, the crow caws, and and that causes him to to like lean back and shift, and your arrow went dead center to where his head was, like a fraction of a second earlier, but it goes right past him, and that's when he notices you, and that's when he shouts, "Oh no, you're one of them!" and he runs off, and he just like barrels through the woods, like just barreling through the undergrowth. There's not a lot of undergrowth here, actually. This is kind of an old growth forest, so there's like bracken on the ground, but there's not a lot of underbrush, so it's he's kind of like just running through these old growth trees. And I think let's cut back to the scene with Ranulfus. So you just killed William, the bandits' leader, and you just issued a challenge. You told them to like scram or get what's coming to them.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a test of authority. And you're telling these murderous bandits to run. I'm going to say that's actually a dishonorable action, because if these are bandits and you're telling them to run, they're going to escape justice.
Sure.
So I'm going to say that is a dishonorable action, if that's what you want to do.
And I'm afraid that I don't have. I think, like, obviously the obvious thing is I'm afraid they're not going to surrender, right? And they're going to fight me. But I think it's more that I'm afraid, like, I don't know where I am, and I'm kind of like Ranulfus is afraid that he doesn't have any authority here. Like, he's used to being the authority, so that's more the more deep-seated fear that he has. Awesome. So I need to roll a d20.
Yep, roll a d20, and this is going to be with authority. Your authority is at 4. So this is going to be a dishonorable action. So you're going to roll a d20 minus 4 is it looks like you rolled a 19. So
I got 15, which
you
is
got a 15,
11.
which is higher than your dishonor. So your dishonor goes up for taking a dishonorable action.
Okay.
And the bandits all say, like, "What, you just killed William!" And they they stand their ground. They're like getting up. They're like they drop their digging tools, and they scatter to go behind trees, and you can tell that they're knocking arrows, and they're going to start like whipping around from behind the trees, and they're probably going to let you have it. Let's continue with that scene. So yeah, that's what happens. What do you do, Ranulfus?
I think I'm just gonna have to. Well, I was gonna say just try to get onto the horse and kind of ride away, basically. But they'll probably shoot the horse, and I don't really want that. Okay. Well, what the hell? I'm wearing like armor and everything, so I'm just going to have to try to dispatch some more of these bandits and bring them to the justice of the sword.
Okay, so you're going to charge.
Why does this god so murder Hobo?
Got it. So you are going to charge at them and start trying to dispatch them.
Yeah. I think if I dispatch 1 or 2 of them, the rest will learn their lesson.
Okay, fair enough. Let's just abstract this whole like you fighting the bandit scene with a single roll, if that's okay with you.
Sure. Awesome.
I think openly fighting bandits who are clearly trying to kill you, that I'm gonna say that's honorable. You're like fighting them. You're fighting these guys with honor. So let's call that so I think this is going to clearly be melee combat, honorable. So you're going to want to roll a 12 or higher on a d20.
Cool.
I
guess let's do the fear again. I keep forgetting about the fear.
Oh yeah, the fear. I mean, I think I think this is. I mean, I think that
it's pretty much clear cut.
I think the consequence is pretty clear cut. Is that they're going to that they're going to if not kill you, they're gonna injure you pretty severely before they then run off.
Awesome. Let's do it. Okay, it's a 3, typical. So
okay, I'm gonna
failed.
Okay, so your
goes down.
So your dishonor goes up because you failed on a dishonorable action.
Okay.
So your dishonor goes up
I
to
failed
13.
on an honorable action.
I'm sorry. Yes, you failed on an honorable action, which means your dishonor increases.
Okay, right. Got it. I think it went up when I failed a dishonorable. Is that right?
Attempting your dishonor goes up on success or failure on a dishonorable action.
Okay. All right. Fine.
So okay. I'm going to let you take narrative control here. What does it look like with like a band of like half a dozen bandits defeating? I mean, you don't have to narrate your own death, but what does it look like? What does being defeated by a group of bandits look like?
Well, I think he's gonna survive the encounter and get away.
Oh, I think it's clear
he's gonna be injured, and the worst injury is probably like his pride and his authority, and the fact that he's out of the situation is out of control, and he's now gone from a position of being the boss and pushing everyone around to being in fear for his life, and so it's almost, I feel like it's almost more his it's almost more like spiritual damage than the physical damage of it, like that this has happened. But sure, he's definitely gonna get an arrow go between a chink in his armor or something, and doubt creeps into his mind. He misses somebody. He realizes they're all around him. He starts to panic a little, and then he's retreating behind his shield as all these missiles are coming in, and he's trying to get on his horse. And
I mean, if you want to say you've taken out like one or two of them, that's absolutely fine. But the rest of them,
I think he just fails. But he just realizes this has all gone wrong, and he tries to get out of there.
And I'm going to say the after they've chased, after they've basically driven you off under a hail of arrows, the bandits themselves they just run deeper into the woods, and they escape your vengeance. Meanwhile, back deeper in the woods, Lot, the peasant that you were chasing he was apparently warned by this crow, and he's just running off into the woods. What do you do? You're muted, Ben.
I promised them I would bring him back, and I am someone who keeps my promises. And so what I do is I stop chasing him, and I go toward, my aim is to capture this person. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to trick him to assume no one has they have lost his trail, and what is it called? Lure him into my clutches inside of the hunting lodge during the night.
Oh, okay. So you're going to try to trick him into. You're going to try to intercept him at the. You're guessing that he's and he is running in the general direction of that hunting lodge. So you're going to try to.
Yeah.
So is he? I'm just going to.
I'm assuming that maybe this is like a fast forward thing, but eventually I'm going to wait him out. I'm going to stop chasing him, right? And somehow, and I would like Ranulfus to give me maybe advice and like any ideas of what trap I could set for this person. But
Okay.
I'm imagining a trap. Yeah.
Okay.
But you know, I could also not murder Hopper and try to empathize with this poor individual.
It is entirely up to you what you want to do. If you want to try to, so it seems like this guy is trying to get to this hunting lodge that he probably seems to know vaguely where it is, but not precisely. You know precisely where it is, and you know, since you're a hunter, you know, these aren't exactly your home woods, but you know your way around here. I'm just gonna say, for the sake of argument, that you can get there. You're pretty sure that that's where he eventually wants to end up, and you're also pretty sure that you can get there before he does.
Okay, then I'm going to hide out inside the hunting lodge, stealth my way there, and set up roost.
Okay. I'm gonna say I don't think there's a roll necessary there. You can get to the hunting lodge, and you've probably got at least 10 or 15 minutes to set something up before he arrives. So what is it like? What kind of trap are you looking to set for him?
Well, first of all, what do I find? Maybe this is
Sure.
Is this an average place?
This is an average place. This is I'm gonna say this is this is a very rustic like one room. It's a very rustic like one room hunting lodge, and it really is just it's like a place where it's got a few places where you could like high up. It's got some place where you could I'm going to say not even horses. Yeah, you wouldn't be taking horses into this kind of a place to hunt. Yeah, it's a very small it's maybe like 15. It's like maybe 10 feet by. It's maybe like 10 feet wide and 15 feet long. It's got a door. It's got a wooden door. I mean, it's like a little log cabin. It only has cutout windows. There's nothing. I mean, they're just open windows. It's got a it's got like a small stone fireplace. Doesn't even have all that much. Doesn't even have all that much of a stone chimney. So you can light a fire in there. This is like it's a place to like go where you can light a fire and like keep the rain off your head. You could conceivably, put something to block the windows if this was wintertime to try to keep it a little warmer. I'm going to say they've got shutters on the outside of the windows that you could open or close. And when you get there, when you get there, the door is closed and the shutters are closed, but there's nobody inside.
As I make my way inside, I scan the walls and I consider what could help my master, but that's an afterthought. What I set myself up like mommy and dad style, waiting for the teenager to come home late, right? Legs crossed and my arrow toward the door. And I wait for the man to come because once he does, I want to have a conversation.
So I'm going to say the place is very sparsely furnished. It's got a tamped dirt floor. And let's just say that there are the only furnishings there. It's like a cut through hunk of a large tree that's just been kind of like rolled in there and plunked down as a table. And let's say there's three more similar like cuts of logs that were cut through and rolled in and set up on their end as stools. And that's the only furnishings in this room. So yeah, I'm going to say if you're like sitting at the table, or I mean, you can drag one of them so that it's like just on the inside of the door. So if someone opens the door, they would not necessarily see you.
I do so.
Okay.
But I put myself in full view.
Oh, okay. So they open the door and you're just there.
And I'm just there, and I say freeze. We're just gonna fast forward. You've set yourself in. So the way I think the way the viewers at home would see this is it was a cut to the perspective of like this guy who's like
quickly and hurriedly, like moving through the woods, and is constantly like looking over his shoulder to see if he's being followed. He sees the hunting lodge and goes, he seems greatly relieved. He walks around. Again, he's looking over his shoulder to make sure there's no one following him. As he opens the door, he steps inside, he turns around and he sees you. And there's this look of utter shock on his face. And what do you do?
Boy. Finally come home, I see. Step in.
Okay. He steps in.
I say.
He puts his hands up.
Say that was quite a scene you had back there. What did you do to deserve death?
I mean, we were just bringing our grain to market, and those bandits attacked us. They demanded a toll. They wanted they wanted us to pay like 5 shillings each. We don't have that kind of money. That's more money than we have in a year. We couldn't pay that, and we argued, and then they started shooting at us, and we didn't have any weapons. And I ran. No, please don't bring me back. They're gonna kill me. Like they killed they killed all my friends and neighbors.
You can tell that I'm a little more high class than those brigands. I can strike you a deal here.
Sure.
But I have something to ask in return. You see, I've been looking around your humble abode for a little while, and I've been looking for something my master could use on this journey.
Okay.
And the best thing I found, I think, is you, sir.
Yeah, I don't live here. I've come here a couple of times when I've gone hunting, and I knew it was here. There's not much here, really. What do you want me for?
Look, I can save your life here.
Okay.
And all of your friends back there, they're dead. They've been dead for hours.
Yeah, I know that.
If you,
at least I thought so.
If you want me to save your life, spare your life, and save your life, I ask you to journey with us and come face the Green Knight. And perhaps along the way you can find a little courage. It would only take a few weeks or so. What do you have to lose? Your life?
Well, if you are taking me captive, then yeah, I'll come with you, I guess. Who's the Green Knight?
He's an old friend. And if you really want to go, then give us something better. But let's just say, I'm here to save you. What I'm trying to do is to convince him that I'm not, that I'm on his side.
Okay. So you're trying to, are you trying to persuade him, or are you trying to trick him into thinking that you're his only offer?
I'm trying to trick him. Yeah.
Trying to trick him. Okay.
What I'm afraid is going to happen is that the moment my back is turned is that he's going to either run, or, the worst thing that could possibly happen is that he would try to stab my master. Well, I'm thinking stabbings, but like somehow, do we have a horse? Like, it's like steal our horse and run with it.
I was going to say, we hadn't decided. We hadn't. I think we had established in the fiction that you were traveling on horseback. So we could. I'm going to say, yeah, you each have a horse. He doesn't.
Yeah, and so the one moment we turn is that he'll take.
He's going to steal a horse and ride away.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair amount. I think I'm just going to say for the sake of the fiction, to let you know, he's going to come with you regardless, because you're clearly threatening him and not really giving him any other choice. But yeah, so this success or failure is going to sort of determine basically whether or not this is going to determine whether or not he's going to try to like run away, or perhaps try to try to attack you, but most likely he's going to try to like run away at his earliest opportunity.
Would you say this is a dishonorable action?
Well, you're basically capturing someone and forcing him to become a retainer. So I'm going to say, yeah, this is a dishonorable action.
Yeah.
And you're tricking him. So your dishonor goes up, and let's do a roll. So do a d20 and subtract 2 for your trickery, and you're trying to get 10 or under.
Yes. I got a 2.
Perfect.
Minus 2 is a 0.
Yep. So yeah, he's like, okay, yeah, I'll come with you. I'll meet this green knight. What do you want me to do when I meet him?
Just light the way. You'll be our torch boy.
Okay.
What's your name, sir?
Aldo.
Aldo. Well, gentleman Aldo, it's a pleasure to meet you. And I offer my hand.
Okay. I think we'll okay. And yeah, you lead him back. I think we'll just, and that is the end of this first encounter. We're gonna end the scene there. We're gonna come back. Now there's a okay, so now after each encounter, there is what's called a judgment phase. Oh, before we get to that, back to Ranulfus. Yeah, you got chased off by the brigands before they took off. Did you ride away on your horse? Were you hiding behind the overturned cart? Basically, I want to know, did you grab that mace that their dead leader William had?
Yeah, I think I would have grabbed the
Okay.
mace. And then I was planning to ride away.
Got it. And you were riding away. Okay, cool. So
Ranulfus,
go ahead.
we're a bunch of dishonorable thugs.
So
right, it's all gone wrong.
This all went wrong. So Ranulfus, add to your inventory engraved mace, and using the engraved mace in melee grants you a +2 bonus in melee combat.
Ah, okay. I'll just take it then.
Okay, so during the judgment phase, the GM has some questions in the adventure that the answers to are going to determine how your character's dishonor was affected by looking at the scene as a whole. So under honorable results, you have found Aldo, but have basically taken him captive. I'm going to say that's dishonorable. I'm going to say that's dishonorable. The bandits are indeed the bandits are still at large in the wood. That's more dishonor. And you looted the mace from the dead bandits. That's more dishonor. So everyone's dishonor increases by 3. This is the end of, so this is, and let's see. Okay, and so this is the end of encounter 1. We're going to, we're just, so when the next scene opens, we're just going to say everyone is together again. It's a few days later. People have had time to, repair any broken equipment, treat their wounds, and yeah, we'll pick this up at the next encounter. Let's see, looking at time. I think this is since we're between encounters here. I think this might be a good time to just to call our final 5-minute break, and then we'll basically run this adventure we'll run the adventure as far as we can. I think it's pretty clear at this point we're not going to get to the end, but that's okay. We'll just kind of keep going. We'll go as far as we can.
Yeah, I would love to check in and just like kind of see what scenes we will want to do in the last hour or so.
Yeah, that's a good
back.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I think we probably have time to do if we go more if we like go a little more quickly, we can probably get 2 encounters in, and I'll give you the overview of the 3 that are of the let's make sure we get to the end, and then there's one of 2 encounters that we can do before that, and we'll discuss that when we come back. So let's come back in 5 minutes. And we're back. Okay, so we're not going to have time to get through the 3 remaining encounters that are in the module. I definitely want to do the final encounter, which is getting to the Green Chapel. So I guess the question to you is, the two other encounters. There's one in which you would encounter a magical animal, and there's one in which you would encounter a ghost. Which sounds more appealing?
Ranulfus, what do you think? Is this going to be like us in the present, or is it like, what if? Because I kind of want to honor Eldo as a character, and like kind of like the mood of Arthurian legend. Like, what if this was this encounter was in like around the campfire, like as we're like bonding over it and like remembering or telling this story, because obviously we're going to live anyway to get to what is it called, the Green Knight,
Green Chapel.
the Green Chapel. Yeah, so this is just a proposal. What?
Yeah. I mean, I'm up for whatever. So
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think how I could like encounter one or both of those to encounter that. If you want this to be a like a story around a campfire that you were telling each other in Aldo.
Yeah, and then like depending on this like roles, like when we're remembering what happened, like that changes the story. I'm not sure. Like if you want to like fast forward, or
I mean, I love the idea. I'm not sure I have quite enough grasp of this game and really how it works to really make that work. If we were playing a different system and or we had more time to play, I'd say that would be really cool, and I'd love to explore that. I think given given the constraints of this convention game, I'm not quite sure how I'd be able to pull that off.
Yeah, no, that's really fun. I was just like thinking.
No, I love the idea, and if this was regular campaign play, I'd say absolutely let's do that. That sounds like a really cool idea, but I think given the constraints, I'm not sure if that's really going to be feasible.
Okay. It's just like, I think the reason why I was thinking about that was because I'm looking at Ranulfus' choice to click folklore for something he's not strong at. So it's like, how can like you bring that out in game is something I was like, ooh, I'd love to see Ranulfus, because like all I've seen of him is that he's just a murder hobo.
I know, right? Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess
I don't know if of either of the encounters, one of them is less likely to devolve into violence than the other. Then maybe whichever one's going to be least violent would be best. I don't know. I feel like folklore could come up for a ghost or for a mythical animal.
I was going to say folklore may very well come up with either of these choices, and this is a choice that we're making as like the players, not as in character. So I think of the two, the one that is probably less likely to end in include violence would be the ghost story. But neither of them are particularly. I mean, I guess either of them could go toward violence, but I I mean, it's really up to you. That's how you want to play it. But I don't think.
Yeah, I guess as long as we don't start the violence,
yeah,
then it
yeah,
probably
exactly.
won't happen.
Violence isn't. I mean, violence isn't inherent to either of these stories.
Cool. Either pick. I guess I don't have any strong preference, so I'm happy for you, Mike, to just pick.
I mean, my understanding, mainly from watching the trailer, is that the magical animal like plays a pretty big role in the film. And I know there's allusions to the scenes that are in the ghost story from the trailer, but that doesn't seem to be emphasizing it. But again, we haven't seen the movie yet, so I don't really know. And
Mike, what are you hoping to get out of the next hour?
What am I hoping to get out of the next hour?
Your player.
Obviously, I'm curious to see. I'm curious to see your character's choices. I'm curious to see. You seem to be on the at the moment to be on the path of dishonor.
Yeah, I desperately need a chance to redeem myself. That's what I'm hoping to get out of the next hour.
Got it. And either of these, I think either of these. I think the logical outcome for either of these two encounters is would. And again, it depends on how you want to play it, but I think between the two, if you're looking to try to do more redemption for yourselves, I think the magical animal encounter might give you more opportunities to, to try to do the honorable thing.
Cool.
The other one, the ghost story is very ambiguous, and like reading through that encounter, I could see your characters like choosing one way or the other. That one has like temptations and devil's bargains involved in it, and that one seems to have much more of an ambiguous ending. Whereas I think the encounter with the magical animal, which if you see in the trailer, it's a fox. The trailer with I think the encounter with the magical fox might be more clear. I think the path toward honor might be more clear on that one. But it's entirely up to you. I'm happy to go either direction.
Well, Ranulfus, my liege, tell me what to do. Which path to go?
And the other thing is, I think the path. I think the encounter with the magical animal. I think that might run a little more quickly than the other one.
Yeah, let's definitely do that then, because we're definitely running out of time.
Okay, if that's cool, let's let us continue. So some time has passed since the last danger. Time on the road seems to make everything grow. The trees seem taller. The weariness of your eyes deeper, your boots heavier. Yet knowing what's at stake, you venture onwards. After several hours of the day, a man runs out from the woods at you, screaming, "Stop! Stop! Stop! You'll scare it off! You'll scare it off!" You see a rustle in the brush and a flash of orange and white. "Oh, there it goes," he says. He looks up at you with a scowl of fury. "My dinner! You're scaring it off," he says. And he starts, as he breaks into a string of oaths and curses at you. Let's see. So there's this guy who is apparently chasing a fox. There's a fox hunter here, who has confronted you and has challenged you with and is accusing you of scaring off his dinner. What do you do? I think Lot had a majority of the time last seen. So why don't we start with Ranulfus?
I think initially I'm dismissive, so Ranulfus is like, "We're on a quest to see the green knight. We don't have time for this foolishness."
But yeah, he's kind of like blocking your way.
Okay.
So he's So is your intention to basically like brush by him and keep going, or do you want to see what this guy has to say?
I feel like initially he wants to just sort of move past him, like he's not really taking it seriously yet. But that can change depending on what happens.
Yeah, and he says, "No, you can't go on." He says, "Like you're going to chase that fox away. I need to catch him. I'm starving." And that's I'm gonna go catch that. And then he pauses and says, wait a minute. He says, wait a minute, and he pauses. Lot, do you want to do anything here?
I'm trying to think. Oh my gosh. I have nothing on the top of my head. Like, so is this, I'm wondering, this just looks like a peasant? Or is this someone hunting on their lands?
That's a good question. Hold on a moment. Let me take a look here. This looks like this man does not appear to be of noble birth. He does not appear to be dressed. He's dressed better than the peasants were. He's dressed better than Aldo was. So this is someone who is perhaps a bit more successful in life. And Aldo's been like following you on foot as you walk your horses. He's just kind of like shakes his, and so Aldo's just kind of like shakes his head. It's like, I don't know, whatever you want to do. And he says, like, look, and so the guy that's paused there says, like, look, that fox, not a normal animal. I've been trying to catch him for a long time. He's it's a magical fox, and I think if you catch it, I mean, you can maybe get his powers. So that's why I've been after him. And any reaction here, or are you going to try to anything either of you want to do here?
It's kind of tough to know what my reaction would be to this.
My lord, do you know? I have seen your libraries in your keep. Do you know about magical, powerful foxes?
Like, is this something? I don't know how the mechanics of this game work. Should I just assert?
Well, what do you want?
Should I check for them, or? What?
I mean, basically, the mechanics are. I'm trying to keep the mechanics. I'm trying to basically focus on the fiction here, and we'll engage the mechanics when we need to engage them. So I guess my question is, what do you want to do here? Do you want to try to? If you want to.
Well, I want to recall or know about the fox because of my knowledge of folklore, but I don't know.
Got it. Well, in that case,
whether I can literally is in this game, do I just say it's this and I know it, or do I do a check for that? Or...
So if you want to try to see what you know of magical foxes, I think let's I don't think there's a whole lot of I think the danger here is you may like recall something lesser, but I don't think there's a role. I don't think there's a role really needed. You know folklore. And sure enough, there are certainly tales of magical talking animals that live in the woods. Foxes in particular, the legends say that magical foxes who can talk, they're some of them are kind of trickster creatures, but sometimes they can actually see the future and may tell you your future. Which
awesome.
Might be if it is indeed a magical talking fox, it may be able to reveal to you the future if you can convince it.
So okay, yeah. So I'm like, perhaps there are many magical creatures, so they say. How do you know that this creature is magical? He says to the guy on the road.
Well, he says, I've heard it talking. I heard it talk to someone else before. And I want to catch it because they say that magical talking foxes can see the future, or to see into other worlds and have all kinds of magical knowledge, but they also say that if you can kill it, you get their powers. So Yeah, that's so. If you can catch that fox and bring it to me, I could, I've got a family heirloom that I'd be happy to exchange for you in return for bringing back that fox alive.
So again, it's like Ranulfus is tempted, but I think based on what happened in the events of the previous few days, perhaps he's going to try and resist his evil nature, right? He's going to try to put that aside because of his knowledge of folklore. I think he believes that the fox is special and should not be harmed. So I don't think he. So I think he's. But I think he is like quite. I think he'd be quite keen to see this fox and to converse with it, but not to trap it and bring it back to this person.
My sire, you are not evil. You have protected lands from bandits. No shame.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Of course. I forget myself. We will not trap this creature and bring it to you.
He says,
and I will not allow you to do so either.
Oh, are you going to stop me?
Killing the beast will not give you its powers.
Oh, of course it does. That's what all the stories say. Yeah. No. Stories don't say that.
They don't say that.
I was going to say, not the stories that you've heard don't say that. You may have heard other stories.
I would like to persuade him that he is in error.
Okay.
The power of speech.
Okay, you're going to try to you're going to try to persuade him to abandon his quest of trying to capture this fox.
Or at least to kill it and take its powers.
Okay.
We could go and talk to it, but killing it isn't going to do him any good. This is the primary thing I want to convince him of. Got it.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's going to be a roll here. I think yeah. So what are you afraid might happen if you fail to persuade him? I've got an idea, but I'm curious as to. The thing that I was thinking was that he basically blows you off and just goes off in pursuit of, like, okay, fine, whatever. If you're not going to help me, if you're not going to help me, I'm going to go off. I'm going to go do it myself. In which case, he'll go off into the woods and try to chase the fox some more.
Yeah, I guess I'm afraid I'm going to have to resort to violence again, and I really don't want that.
Got it. Okay, so yeah. I think persuading him not to want to fight the fox or not to hunt the fox. I think that is I'm going to say that is an honorable action.
Yeah.
So with your persuasion, roll a d20 and add 4, and roll a d20 and add 4, and
I did it. 22.
Nice. And I was going to say, if you wanted to, and if you wanted to use you can always use your virtue to try to re-roll if it didn't go so well. But you got a 22, so yeah, your dishonor goes down.
So yeah, based on my extensive sort of folklore knowledge.
Yeah, I was going to say, so go ahead and take the scene.
Him that I know that it's not going to give him powers.
I'm going to say you convince him. So I'm going to say that you are very convincing. Do you want to take the scene, or do you want to I
think it's established. Like, I'm happy to just say he's not going to hunt it, but I would like to ask a lot if she, pardon me, will if she believes she can find it and we can converse with it.
Ooh, that's a great idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you do convince the hunter to it's like, okay, fine. Killing it won't give me his powers, but I still want to talk to that fox, but maybe some other time. And he basically, he basically heads back the way he came. And more or less, as soon as he leaves the scene, you catch a glimpse of orange on the edge of the trail ahead of you. And there's definitely the face of a fox is looking at you. It then turns away and goes deeper into the forest. What do you do?
Yeah, I turn to Eldo and I say, Eldo, because I imagine we prayed together over the what is it called, the graves, however shallow,
absolutely,
of his prayers. And I'm trying to think what I would have done with him. I would have given I would have put a stone on each of the graves, and and I would give one to him, and I say, "This is the stone that could have been for you." And so, as we take it, I say, "Eldo, give me your stone. We can see your future together."
Okay. He
Because
complies.
this might be the most important thing for you. What is called? This might be most fortuitous for you, because I'm afraid of my own future. So I take it.
Okay.
And how would we like to go with this? Just hunt like an animal, or is I'm asking Ranulfus, what is the proper way to hunt a magical beast? Do you know a story that might help us?
I don't know a story, I guess, but
Can you make up a story?
there is a yeah, I don't, I'm not sure I can, but there is a quality to the air, to the light when you're on the trail of such a beast, so they say in the tales.
So I mean, just looking at the game mechanics, if you want to try to track the fox through the forest, you certainly can do that. That would probably be that'd probably be either a vigilant, that'd probably be using vigilance or intuition. But you know what? I'm just going to say for the sake of the fiction that if you want to try to track the fox, basically tell us what the approach is. It's going to work. I'm not going to ask for a roll. It's going to work, but that's going to color the fiction on basically, how you encounter the fox.
I think there's something about Ranulfus, what he said about the light, and especially a magical creature. I don't think this is hunting paw prints. I think this is hunting the light within ourselves. And that as when I enter this deep, wide forest, I find a slit where the light penetrates these trees and warms the ground. And I sit and I think about my actions for the previous days. And I think about the kind of vengeful violence we've done to these bandits, and even my coldness toward Eldo. I am one to, what is it called, keep promises, but I might have gone too far with him. And my virtue is forgiveness. So maybe in this grove, somehow, as I hold Eldo's stone, I try to seek the light of forgiveness, even to try to forgive myself, which I don't think I can.
Okay.
And that's how I hunt the fox.
Okay. Yeah, so you do follow the the chain of. Oh, and I do have to retcon one of my answers to one of your earlier questions about would killing a magical creature grant you some of its power? And actually, the answer is yes, it would. So, and you would know that. So. You would know that, but if you wished to convince if you had wished to convince the fox hunter otherwise, that would also be fine. I just wanted to establish that in the fiction because that the module actually says that is indeed true. If you kill the creature, you will gain some of its power. But I will also say the folklore also says that if you treat the creature with kindness, it may grant you a boon. So yeah, I'm going to say that you are able to track the fox through the woods, and you encounter it at one point. You follow the path, and it opens up into a small glade, and there's like sunlight streaming down. And sitting on the stump in the middle of this glade, there is a large, magnificent-looking fox who's just sitting there looking right at the three of you as you come into the glade. And as you step in, it just speaks to you in a calm yet stern voice. Hello, friends. I have seen you traveling for miles, for days, and now we face each other. I know that man that you spoke with earlier wishes to put me in a cage, and you must not let him, for I am as free as these trees, and as long as they grow, I must also remain free. What do you wish of me?
My lord. Should I wait?
Looks like he stepped off camera and muted himself.
Okay. Aldo.
Yeah.
What would you ask the fox?
He looks at you, he looks at the fox and says, hello, Mr. Fox. Who are you? And at Aldo's question, the fox looks at you and looks at the three of you in turn and almost seems to smile and responds, well, my friend, I am something larger than you or me. In some ways, I am the forest. I am the trees. I am the earth. I am its sprawling vines and sprawling weeds. I am more than any of us. I am more than I appear to be. And to that, Aldo just kind of like shakes his head and says, I don't know what that means. But thank you. Aldo is kind of like, again, looks questioningly at Lot and looks questioningly at Ranulfus, as if to say, like, why am I here?
My lord, what would you ask this fine beast?
It's still sitting there, like regarding you with, if anything, it looks quizzical.
I guess I will say we are on a quest to see the Green Knight.
It nods.
Yeah. What can you tell us of the fate that lies before us?
He says, he kind of like looks off into the distance and then looks at you and says, well, I see many futures and I see many ends. Your future depends on the decisions you choose to make.
But it is not too late. The fate is still in our hands.
Oh, yes. Your fate is always in your hands. Depending on your choices, things may go very well for you, or they may not.
I think Ranulfus turns to Lot just to see if wants to add anything. She wants to add anything. Keep getting that wrong.
Well, I step forward and I say, fine spirit of this forest, I am honored to be in your presence, but I am filled with shame because you have the eyes to see what's in our hearts, and you have seen the blood in our shadows, and I have done wrongs, and I want to know what is the right path ahead. I have entrapped this poor man. And I look to Eldo, and
he shrugs.
And I have spurned the love of my life, and I want to know, for the good of my child, if I should open my arms to him again. What would be right?
So the fox looks at Aldo and looks at you and says, well, to your first question, much as I must remain free all of us must remain free. And keeping one in a cage, whether that is a literal cage or whether it is a literal cage of bars or a figurative cage of words, is not good for either the one in the cage or the one who holds the keys to the cage. As for your second question, I have not met the Green Knight myself, but his reputation precedes him. He is also one not to be kept in cages. He is also not one to be kept in cages, literal or figurative. He does not keep. He does not. He does not. He is not one to be kept.
And at that, if this is okay with you, Ranulfus, I turn to Eldo and I say, I'm sorry, poor man. I've done terrible things to you, and I offer him the stone, and I offer him the reins to my horse, and I say, you are free to go if you would like, but also, if you would like to join us to the end of our journey, perhaps you will live forever again. You will live higher than the station you've been given and become one with the songs of heroes. It is your choice.
He nods. He looks at the fox. He looks at the fox. He looks at you. He takes the he takes the reins. He takes the reins that you offer, and he says, "Well,
this is my horse. It is now yours."
Thank you. I think I'd just like to go home now. and he saddles up, turns the horse around, and he trots away.
Looks like you're walking.
Looking over, I mean, looking, and he's constantly looking over his shoulder to see if this is
my horse.
and he's constantly looking over his shoulder to see if this is indeed a ruse. Seeing that it's not, he rides back. He rides back to the trail and goes back the direction from which he came. And then the fox looks at you lot and nods and says, "Interesting choice."
I know. I'm gonna have to walk in my lord's horse's poop for the rest of the journey. Right behind. My gosh.
So, says the fox, "Are we partners?" So, says the fox, what is, so what are you to, so what are we all to do with each other here?
I think Ranulfus is already kind of mounting his horse, and he says, thank you, wise spirit. You have given me renewed hope, and we must make haste, for we have an appointment."
"Indeed you do," he says.
Wise spirit, you are often on the bad end of hunt. Would you want me to hunt anyone for you? I am great at vengeance.
"Oh, I seek not vengeance. I simply seek freedom."
Then be on your way and be safe. And I whisper a blessing and I turn my heel.
You whisper a blessing. At that, the fox stops and turns around and says, "And I give you one as well." It locks its gaze with you, and you just feel a fraction of its power. And at that, you feel a fraction of its power flow into you. And at that, the fox turns and like leaps off. It like leaps off of the stump it was sitting on, and it leaps again into the underbrush and is gone. So Lot, you actually you're actually getting a single use of a power. The power is called Eldritch Visions. And the Eldritch Vision allows you, and it's single use because it granted you a single boon from this. And the Eldritch Visions are basically visions of the future, and you can use these Eldritch Visions to re-roll a die, or you can, for either yourself, or you can bestow that to someone else by giving them advice of the visions you saw of the future. And that ends this encounter. We're going to go to the judgment phase. So you let the fox go. So that gives you 3 honor. You convinced the foxcatcher to go abandon his hunt. So that's another honor. Yeah. So that is.
And I gave the horse to
and I'm going to say Lot. I'm going to give you another honor because you let Aldo go, and you also gave him your horse. So, Lot, your dishonor goes down by 5, and Ranulfus, your dishonor goes down by 4.
I already did mine, so I'm on.
Already did yours. Okay, fantastic. Okay. And you press on. The days grow shorter as you venture deeper into the forest. The trees get thicker, stranger, and somehow greener. A thick fog blankets the moss-covered ground. Up ahead, you see an opening in the forest where the mist seems to part like a curtain, and you make your way toward it. The clearing allows a little light to filter through, but you can make out the shapes of weathered gravestones, their runic carvings almost completely worn away by time. Beyond it, in the center of the clearing, half hidden in the greenery, stands an ancient structure. Tree limbs twist and bend to its shape. The air is still and the wood is silent. You have found it, standing there, half forgotten, half glorious. The green chapel stands before you. This is the final encounter of the game. One last test of honor. There are basically three parts to this encounter. There's entering the green chapel. There is facing the Green Knight, and there is the final judgment of meeting your fate. So you have approached the clearing in which the Green Chapel is. I'm not going to ask you what to do because it was clear that you need to enter the Green Chapel to face the Green Knight.
Are there gates?
Nope, no gates. There's a churchyard around the chapel, which has ancient gravestones that are carved with inscriptions in ancient runic language, which these stones have been here for centuries, and much of them have eroded away.
Ooh, I love this is like a church, and there's like these like kind of Druidic or like really ancient like things mixed in. Like this is super cool.
Ranulfus will remove any of his weaponry, etc., and leave that with the horse.
Okay.
Before entering.
So as you approach the Green Chapel, you feel a profound sense of dread in your stomach. The building seems not to just be covered in vines, but composed of greenery itself, as much a part of the forest as the trees surrounding it. The chapel has no door, but its interior is too shaded to see clearly. Do you have the honor to enter the chapel? So again, the chapel doesn't really have a door, but it's it's covered with vines, and the vines seem to be as much a part of the chapel as they are of the forest. But you need to get through them in order to enter the chapel. So I guess my question is, how are you going to attempt to enter the chapel? And this is going to be a test of honor. But the question is, how you choose to approach it is going to determine which test we're going to do.
So I think Ranulfus will just walk towards the doorway, place his hand on the vines and roots, and just basically say, "Open, like I am here to see the Green Knight."
I think that is going to be clearly a test of authority. This is an honorable action, so let us test Ranulfus's authority. So go ahead and roll a d20 and add your authority, which is a 4. You're going to try to go over your dishonor.
Do we need to establish a stake for it rather than just nothing happens?
I think the I think
it's going to happen.
Yeah. What are you afraid of if you do not have the honor to? What are you afraid of if you don't have the honor to? If you don't have the honor here, I have a suggestion. And that is, and the suggestion is that the vines do not wish you to enter if you don't face this with enough honor, and the vines are going to, and instead of the vines being letting you push them aside, the vines are going to basically animate and entangle you and attempt to make you part of the Green Chapel.
That's awesome. I can feel them moving, like Ranulfus can feel them moving under his hand and like kind of caressing his hand and stuff, like moving around, like
Yep.
it's living. That's awesome. Okay, I will roll.
And that is a
13.
that is a 17. That is a success. That is a success. Your dishonor decreases to 10, and you have entered the Green Chapel. You know. So go ahead and go. So go ahead and So what does it look like as you convince the vines to let you enter?
I think they kind of embrace me, and for a moment I fear that I haven't been worthy, but then they just kind of gently push me through, and others come behind, and I just disappear through this wall of and it's like they're just gently pushing me and ushering me in, and I just disappear.
I love it. Kind of like that meme that's been going around of like Homer Simpson like going into the
Right,
going
yeah.
into the bush.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I love it. So Lot, how are you going to enter the chapel?
Yeah, so, now that you say vines snagging people, as I look at the church, I start to notice strange lumps where vines reach over of previous guests who've come to try to
You
greet
are
the.
you are absolutely seeing seeing skeletons that are wrapped up in the vines that have been raised
Yeah.
up.
And I think my lord may have just been eaten by a building. And it's like I'm looking at this place and I'm seeing druidic symbols and church symbols, and I realize this is some sort of old, like ancient, like heresy, like a strange interpretation, and I want to uh, 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 like a pagan interpretation of Christianity, like whoever built this place, and I want to use mysticism to find the proper prayer or the proper sacrifice I need to give to get inside. So I guess I'm going
Okay.
to go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go read in the inscriptions at the at on the walls, or
Sure.
if there's like a bell or something, try to see if there's words written on it. And
Um,
what I'm afraid will happen is, in doing so, I will be tainted by the strange magics of this place.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this is going to be a mysticism test. You're going to use your knowledge of the. You're going to use the knowledge of. You're going to use the mystic knowledge that you've accumulated over the years. Yeah, you do see that there are some inscriptions that are still mostly readable that are on the stone of the chapel over the door. If I was more creative on the fly, I would tell you what they are. But I'm going to say go ahead and roll a test of mysticism. This is honorable, so you want to roll over your dishonor.
Okay.
So roll a d20 and add 4, and don't roll a 3 or under.
I rolled a 2.
So the so I'm gonna say if you would like to use your the chapel is rejecting your words of is rejecting the incantation that you speak. You can use your mystic visions to re-roll, or alternatively, if you can tell us how being forgiving would let the chapel in, you could re-roll.
Ooh, being forgiving. I say, forgetting, forgiving. What am I trying to forgive? Okay, so
Or
hear me out,
sorry, go on.
Ranulfus. There's a few things trying to forgive the Green Knight for doing what? I don't know. Being like a prude. I don't know. For being standoffish. Even though I did spurn him. Do you have any ideas of who I can forgive? Or what I can forgive?
I mean, I have an idea if you want to hear it.
Oh, please.
Perhaps you need to forgive yourself for your past actions.
Yeah.
And forgiving yourself of poor decisions you've made in your past. Maybe that will convince the chapel that you have the honor to enter.
Yeah. Are my arrows still bloody? Like the unwashable blood?
The unwashed ones?
Yeah.
I'm going to say at the moment, yes, they are.
Yeah. Okay. I look at these arrows that I'm keeping that are that represent who I am, and my sin, and in these church grounds, I put them down at the gate, and in that moment, I forgive myself for the wrongs I've committed, but at the same time, I make a vow of not poverty. What is it? What is it when you are peaceful?
You make a vow of pacifism?
Yeah, a vow of pacifism, to never hunt a man again.
I like it. I don't. I'm going to say I don't even. I don't think I don't want to roll. I think this is. I think that's perfect. At that, you look down and the some of the vines curve over your arrows that you set on the stones before it, and as that happens, the blood just vanishes from the arrows, and the vines open up more or less pretty much the same way they did for Ranulfus, and the chamber beyond beckons you forward.
And I step into the green.
I'm going to say that your dishonor decreases through that action. So your dishonor goes down to 7. You walk inside the chapel. I'm going to pause here. I'm just going to pause here, break the game briefly. This game is scheduled to end in about 10 minutes. I don't have anything after. If I'm happy to go a little long, if that's okay with you. I don't know what your schedules are like, but I'm happy to go another like half an hour if we need to. Ben, you're muted.
I'm comfortable with that. It's like,
yeah,
I'm like
half an
being
hour
quiet.
should be okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's already 2 a.m. It's fine. I'll go to 2:30. It's fine.
Got it. Okay. Cool. Because yeah, we're so close. We're so close to the end. I'd hate to end on a cliffhanger. So you walk into the chapel. Mist drifts through the weathered stone and hangs about the floors and corners. You slowly make your way toward the block of stone that resembles an altar. Where the pulpit would be is only a massive tree trunk. Your eyes search the area for the Green Knight, and it is only as you get closer that you realize he is already there. He is the one with the tree trunk itself, almost carved at its base. His eyes open in a deep rumble that shakes the earth around you and says, you came. Has it indeed been a year? Do you have the courage to answer him?
My lord.
Oh, sorry, you is that a call to action for me to do something? Sorry. Yeah, okay.
So yeah, it's like,
I do. We
you
have come.
know, the strange, the Green Knight is a strange looking creature, and now here in the now here within his own domain, he seems at once to be a man and at once to be something more than a man. His flesh is green, his hair is green, his teeth are green, and it's the verdant greens of the forest. It's parts of him are his hair is the deep verdant green of the forest of summer. His skin is the his skin is the yellow green of the first leaves of spring. His eyes are the deep unknowable green of the deep unknowable greens of a boreal forest. And he says, and he nods. It has been a year indeed, has it not? And he's somewhat immobilized because he's like laying down, kind of like half reclining into the intertwined stonework and vines and plant life that are suffusing it. And the vines that are around him are slowly starting to move away to free him, to let him rise. And he says, "A blow for a blow was our game, was it not?"
It was.
So let us conclude our game, shall we not? Or have you a counter proposal?
I'm
Has
ready to
been
do
the-
what I promised.
And Ranulfus, can you remind me what you promised?
It's basically like I strike him, he strikes me, like the classic, like textbook canon kind of Green Knight deal. So
Yeah, I'm just trying to wonder if, like, are you intending to kill the Green Knight?
no, he's intending to just basically let the Green Knight strike him.
Okay.
I guess he's been kind of reflecting on this and building up to it, and it's almost like more important for him to be a legend than to be a man. Like it's like his legacy or something. So it's just kind of like he's prepared to do that and to see it through.
I'm just wondering, would your manservant allow you to do this to yourself? And I know I clicked like a veil on suicide, but like, if you want to commit suicide by Green Knight, like I'm fine with that. But
Sure. I guess it's interesting, isn't it? Like, is that suicide? Yeah.
it's self-sacrifice, which is like an Arthurian version of it.
Sure, yeah. It's like death by Green Knight. Yeah.
So, is this what you want? Because I imagine we'd talk about this before we arrived.
Yeah, like it's been known for like a year. So I don't know whether Lot has brought up the subject before now.
Oh, that's true. I think we could talk about this in character, and I say, my lord, I look to the Green Knight and I say, my lord, it has been a year. She has grown tall as a lily.
Says the Green Knight. Indeed, indeed.
Who would you challenge first, my lord or me?
Well,
I think that Ranulfus will just step in there and say, I shall lead.
well,
I have given my knightly vow and I must see this through. And I think I got like a move that like lets me take one dishonor off of lot as well, because I'm leading by example. I don't know if
that is true.
it requires a courage skill check. So if that comes up, then that could be on the table. Just point that out. But
okay.
Not.
So
Be courageous, my lord.
So so the Green Knight. So you have come to conclude our game, says the Green Knight. He pulls one great arm out of the vines that were holding him, and then another, and then he stands up to his full height, which is over 7 feet tall. Each movement sounds like an entire tree uprooting. He stands to his full height, towering above you, and looks down. So, you have chosen honor. Good. His voice echoes off the grove, commanding all the strength, wisdom, and age of the earth around you. And he looks down and he looks at Ranulfus. And now, kneel before me. It is time. Now, Ranulfus, kneel before me. It is time. And at that, he raises his great axe.
Yeah.
Can your honor hold true?
Yeah. Should I make a check for that?
Yeah, if you're going to like basically kneel before the Green Knight because I mean, you cut his head off last time. It's time for him to return the favor.
But he's trapped. Ranulfus he can't go back on this. He spread the story of this far and wide. There's just like nowhere else for him to go. So he's in some ways he's like cornered, right? So he's at this point he's now probably facing his fear, right? He's pretty terrified of this. But
yeah,
I think,
absolutely.
Like,
so
I, as a player, want him to succeed. So I think we should roll the dice to see if he can.
This is definitely going to be I mean, this is more or less going to be Ranulfus's like more or less conclusion here. So to kneel there with honor and not flinch as the Green Knight attempts to take your head, that is going to be a test of endurance.
Okay.
And this is honorable, so you'll want to roll your dishonor or higher. Your endurance appears to be a 2, so it'll be a
+2. Yeah.
So it'll be a +2 on the roll. Ben, did you want to say something? You raised your hand. You're muted.
I was just realizing that endurance is part of courage, so never mind.
Got it. Yeah, so let's roll a d20 +2 and let's see what happens.
20.
Right. Your dishonor decreases. And you kneel there, and the Green Knight's axe comes down. The camera sees the axe like go through the air, and it cuts to you as the blade approaches your neck, and the camera sees, the camera sees your the camera sees your head hit the ground and roll.
Yeah.
And the camera now goes to Lot.
And I step over my master's head.
Okay, and the camera goes to Lot, and the Green Knight says, "The blow you struck me was more literal. It was more figurative than literal. For for it is not your head, that I seek, but your heart." And he gestures, and like a light ray like a beam of sunlight, comes down through and shines on your daughter is your daughter is sitting there in the chapel, and she's like, she's a year old, and she's sitting there and she's playing with a little a little night doll, and she's playing with two little night dolls, and they're having one is clearly an effigy of the Green Knight, who's green, and it's got an axe, and the other is a little doll of Ranulfus, who's got a sword, and she's just like playing with, it's like a kid playing with action figures. She's playing with them. And he says, I release you, but I shall raise her as my heir. What say you?"
And at that, I hold back tears, and I say, "My lord, my handsome sir." And I step forward, still holding my eyes, and I say, "Look in my eyes. I want to share something with you." And I step forward, and I lean in. Is it okay if I kiss the Green Knight?
Absolutely.
And I lean in, and the camera catches the moment where our eyes are just so close. And I open my eyes, and in my eyes, I share a vision. The one moment I could see the future given to me by the fox. And in that vision, I grant the Green Knight an image of our daughter, happy in this grove, and growing into someone greater than the night, someone who could protect the creatures of the forest, someone who could protect the paths from the bandits. And I say, my lord, I forgive you. I forgive you for everything. And I just want to say, I do still love you. And I will hold you in my memory and in my prayers. And I step back.
I don't think we need to roll any dice here. That's a fantastic scene. Thank you. At that, the knight, the knight caresses the back of your head and nods, Well done. Well done. Hold on, I'm just trying to. I'm trying to reconcile the fiction with the module. So give me just a moment here.
As I look over Ranulfus's, my lord's body, what should I bring back? What would you have me tell our people?
Maybe a ring, maybe like a signet ring. This is like the symbol of his family, to pass on to his children, to his heir.
So I think we're going to conclude with Ranulfus first. So you know, so when the axe came down on you, you didn't feel a thing. There was only blackness. Your head was gone, and I'm going to say like Lot, when you looked down, like Ranulfus is not there anymore. Your head was gone, you are gone. However, you're not dead. Your body has become one with the earth and since you had chosen honor, the legend you made lives on. Your legend is rooted deep in the ground, and each time your story is told, a sapling emerges from the earth. Time will let the sapling grow into a mighty tree. The tree's branches will be gnarled and look like bones broken and healed 100 times. Its shadows will seem foreign to a passerby. Cold wind will blow through its branches, but more sun will break through, feeding the damp earth around you. Your roots will burrow deeper. The green will bloom, more saplings will rise, more nights will grow forth. You will grow. It's a lot. The night, the green night, like, again, the green night, again, caresses your hair and says, "You are released. You may choose to stay. Make your home here with me and with our child, and she'll become and join me as a protector of the forest. What say you?"
I say, Green Knight, I may forgive you. And I look to my child, and I know she's happy now, and she will grow into a wonderful person. But though I can forgive, I can't forget this. And I say, I'm going to stay in my own world. We'll meet again someday.
Indeed we will. Will you come back in a year's hence?
Maybe. I'll come back with gifts.
He nods. He nods, gestures, and the vines open. You're in darkness, so the vines open, and like the sunlight shines through. And we see Lot walk into the sun. We see Lot walk into the sunset, or walk into the sunlight, and the vines close behind. End credits. And that was the Green Knight role-playing game. I thought this was pretty cool. I thought that was a really intense ending. I thought this was a lot of fun. After a game like this, I like to do a little exercise called Stars and Wishes, where we just kind of pull out interesting moments that we like to raise up, and give a little applause to. And wishes are things that, like if this were campaign play, we'd say, like wishes are things that we normally it'd be what I would like to see in next time. But in this case, if you want to make comments about the game itself or, like other things, we can do that. So if it's okay with you, I'd like to start. I just want to say this is a really cool game. It really didn't go the direction I was anticipating. And Ben, I gotta say the taking a figurative, like dealing a figurative blow against the Green Knight in your background. Wow, I was not expecting that at all. Hence my kind of like twist at the ending.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that was awesome. I loved that. I hope you didn't find I know we veiled harm to children, and no harm befell the child. It's just that she's going to grow up in a very different circumstance than what you had perhaps planned. But I figured, if you struck a blow to his heart, he was going to strike a blow to yours.
I was like, oh my gosh, he's gonna kill my child.
Oh no,
It's incredible.
the Green Knight is neither good. I mean, the Green Knight is neither good nor evil, but the Green Knight is honorable.
Yeah. But I was like, in that moment, I was like really taken aback. Like I was so in character. I was like, wow, oh my God. It was really perfect, Mike. Fantastic.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you liked it. It just seemed like I think I came up with that. I think I only came up with that I knew I wanted to do something to bring back to bring back the child, but yeah, we had to bring her back to the end at some point, and that just seemed appropriate. So cool. I'm glad you liked that. I was a little afraid to do that because we had the harm to children line, or we had the harm to children veil there, and yeah. So cool, and I thought your role play at the end was just phenomenal. This was I do not mean this like lightly at all. You mentioned that you are ahead of a LARPing group in Japan, and I 100% totally see that. You were really super into this, and yeah, that was really awesome. I just loved your role playing, Ben. That was really, really cool. Gareth, I loved so many points of Ranulfus's story. I liked to see the struggle between his selfish, between his selfish vice and his valorous virtue. That opening scene when you when you kind of like when you shanked the bandit leader. I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting the knight to do that, but then coming around to honor, I liked our scene. I liked our little scene with the fox and how you quickly decided that it was time to let him go. I just thought this is great role playing all around. So thank you so much. As for wishes, this game is interesting. It's really only designed to tell a very specific story. I'm not really sure if this game could really be used to tell different stories. So this game seems to be kind of a one-trick pony. I think what it does very, very well. So this is definitely a targeted story game. It's not a general purpose role-playing game. I'm not sure how one could use this to tell different stories. Those are my stars and wishes for this game. Would either of you like to take a turn doing that?
Question, Mike. When you say for other games, like, what do you mean, like in just more general fantasy, or you mean just in Arthurian legend in general?
Yeah, I'm not sure how. I mean, I suppose you could write some different things, but this is a game that's designed to tell stories of honor. So I guess, I mean, I'm not well versed on. I mean, I could see how you could use this to tell a story of, like maybe from Norse mythology. Maybe you could probably do this you could probably use this game to tell like maybe the story of Beowulf, or something from the Prose Eddas. Although reading reading like the Icelandic sagas, like honor is very very different than it is from the Arthurian legends, which is very much which I mean the Arthurian legends, yeah, they're old, but the ones that we have are told very much from a European Christendom point of view. I'd be interested. I'm not as well versed in folklore from other regions, so I probably am not qualified to use this to tell a story of feudal Japan or African folklore. If I wanted to do that, I would certainly want to work with someone who's much more well versed in folklore and was an actual member of that culture.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could see this framework being used for other stories that are told from the point of view of honor. But I'm not sure how much this would be. I'm not sure how good a game this would be to be used as kind of like a general purpose like fantasy role playing game. I think that's what I meant by that. But I think after playing this once, I think it does what it. I think this game like did a pretty good job of like doing what it set out to do. Talking about the game system itself. I love your role playing, and I love the fact that you were kind of like taking this into different directions, particularly directions that the game wasn't really intended to do. But that's the joy of a role playing game. You never know exactly what directions things are going to go with, and as a GM, you need to I try very much to be a yes and approach when I GM. To tell the stories that my players want to tell the stories that my players want to play. I don't want to, clearly, Ben, this game wasn't really intended. This game was really intended to be like literal blow for blow, but like moving it into a more figurative direction. That was clearly the story you wanted to tell. So that's the story we told.
Wonderful. Gareth.
Oh, do you want me to go? Okay. Yeah, my stars are probably the same, I think, as just some like outstanding role playing, especially Ben at the end there. It was like really moving. Like the whole ending was really emotional and really moving for me, and I didn't expect that. It was cool. I don't think I've ever had quite such an emotional experience in a role playing game before, and so that's my star. It goes to both of you really for kind of making that happen. And yeah, it was really enjoyable. But yeah, really kind of emotional. It took me by surprise. So yeah, that was great. I don't know if I have any wishes. I guess it felt, I think because it was like a written adventure, it was a little, I sort of appreciated what we tried to do, Mike, in incorporating our ideas, but I think also it was a little bit
very railroady
because you had to work with the published content. So don't hold that against you. I appreciate what you did, and you did a good job. I guess if I had a wish, it would be that it could have somehow been more freeform, which is difficult in a one-shot format, and still making it have a satisfying conclusion. But all around, yeah, really good, really enjoyed it. Yeah, interesting system.
Awesome, cool, thank you.
I wanted to star first Gareth for such great, I loved how aware you were of your character and like playing into your character's strengths, and like you had like a clear vision and like you're bringing out what was in the in the character sheet, and then like really role playing with that, like when you talked about light with your folklore move, or what else, like how you were valorous at the end. I was not expecting you to turn for the good. I was expecting you like to like murder hobo this right to the end. And like after like that start, I was like, and then I was like shocked that you actually like bent down and took the blow of an axe to your head. Like I wouldn't fucking do that. I'm sorry. I apologize. So that was like amazing and brave, like out of character. And for Mike, I want to thank you so much for hosting this game and having us, and like running a game you've never ran before is like a real experience. And I totally feel for you, and thank you so much for making space for me to like to propose scenes and stuff. I felt like I was like being like stepping on toes, like a pianist playing the basses line, and I apologize. And so, but like in the future, like I could see this role-playing game used for like different ideas of honor, as long as they're like clarified, like in a module, like in and written by someone in the culture, like in this period in Japan in the 1980s, in like the corporation of Toyota, you know, you're in this module, right? And this is what honor means in this like period of history in this place. And like as we were like doing these corporate mergers, like like and like actually like make honor like more of a conversation, maybe would be really cool.
That's a really cool idea. That's a really cool idea.
So I don't know.
So,
yeah. So I
so
think this
I
game has potential.
I'm sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. Keep going.
No. That's my wish, is like more modules.
Awesome. Well, thank you, gentlemen. This was really a lot of fun. I really I really enjoyed playing this game. And yeah, this was the first time I took it out. But I mean, you know, there's always first time you play any game, and I find that the Gauntlet community is a great place to you know to start playing a game that you've never played before. Players tend to be very forgiving, and that's a big part of Gauntlet play culture, is to do the yes and to like encourage you know you know try to encourage creativity. I wish that if this was more of a campaign play, I know I would have definitely run with some of more Ben's ideas, but you know, this is clearly a one shot, and I wanted to try, and since this is the first time I was running this game, I wanted to try to give as close to an experience as the writer intended. So I didn't want to go too far afield, but at the same time, I wanted to do my best to tell the kind of stories that we wanted to tell. I thought this came to a really nice, satisfying conclusion, and I really enjoyed this game. Thank you so much for playing. I had an absolutely I just had a splendid time. This is a lot of fun. I hope very much that our paths will cross again, and we'll be able to play a game together at some point in the not too distant future.
I think I'm playing again with you on Sunday in New York.
Oh, you're in the Mork board game. Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's going to be a very different experience.
Right.
Mork Borg. Yeah, that's OSR all the way with a theme of Scandinavian death metal.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's going to be fun. That's going to be the third time I've run that adventure. So it's that one's a great convention one shot. That one's really a lot of fun. I look forward to that game. Okay. Before we conclude, is it okay if I share this video?
Yes.
Or alternate. So that's a yes. Yep. Okay. I'll get this processed. I'll put it on my YouTube page. I'm going to post it on. I'm going to post it with the Gauntlet, and I'll drop you both a line when it's available, so you can take a look at it or listen to it at some point in the future. I think that concludes this game. Thank you, folks. I had a blast. Thank you so much for going on this journey with me. I really enjoyed it.
I'm so glad I stayed up. Good night, guys.
Good night. Good night, folks. Have a great day and great rest of week.
You too.